Embrace between the England head coach Lee Carsley and Ashley Cole. Thoughts with Dean Henderson, of course, on the England bench. He was a former Sheffield United teammate of George Baldock. Such a tragic tale at the age of 31. 12 caps he made for Greece. Made his debut under Gus Poyet against Northern Ireland in Belfast 2 years ago. And at the age of 31, and indeed he played here in an FA Cup semi-final for Sheffield United at Wembley Stadium, as he was remembered by this near sellout crowd ahead of this Nations League game. League B, Group 2, as we're underway. Our referee from Italy, Andrea Colombo, gets the game underway with England in all white, playing from left to right as we look. And from a playing point of view, both of these two sides have won their opening games, 6 points from 6, but one can only imagine how difficult it's been to process that tragic news for these teammates of George Baldock.
Oh, like the rest of us, almost impossible for us to comprehend. It's such a sad day from somebody that's been taken from us far too early, and you only have to listen to the tributes that have been paid today from former club owners, from former club managers and people that were close to him. He's left a touching sign on many people's hearts at such a young age. A tragic day for football.
Mentioned Dean Henderson, who of course played with him at Sheffield United. Anastasios Bakasetas, who's their attacking midfielder, a teammate of George Baldock for Panathinaikos. He only played at the weekend in that goalless draw against Olympiacos, and in that game Giannis actually picked up a groin injury that ruled him out of this game, and he's been in such good form as well. 5 goals in his last 6 games, scored in both of their opening Nations League games, did Giannadinis. So Greece are missing a key player as they're all in royal blue. Italy are leading. They've taken an early lead at home to Belgium, elsewhere in the Nations League. As here is John Stones on an extremely proud night for the Yorkshireman. Not been a bad day for Yorkshire folk, has it?
I think we did all right at the cricket as well, didn't we, this afternoon or this morning?
I always thought Yorkshire Day was August the 1st, but John Stones from Barnsley, captaining England for the first time. Harry Brook and Joe Root with that record partnership of 454. Root from Sheffield and Brook from Burley in Wharfdale, as England come forward over on that far side. And Bellingham onto the ball, breaks back towards Gordon, tees up Palmer, and Palmer actually sliced it. It went right up in the air, a complete miss hit off his left boot. Bellingham with a shot, tipped over by Vlachodimos. He's yet to score this season, Jude Bellingham, and he certainly tested the Greece goalkeeper.
Yeah, really good strike by Bellingham. He's the one playing the most advanced in this new fluid formation that Lee Carsley sent his team out. Finds himself on the top right-hand corner of the 18-yard box, cuts inside on his right foot. He does bobble up a little bit, but he gets a really clean strike, curling away and into Vlachodimos. Top left-hand corner, top hand save, England corner.
Newcastle United goalkeeper with the acrobatic save. Just the one appearance since that move to St James's Park. He played the second half against AFC Wimbledon in that recent rearranged League Cup tie. England have a corner near side the right. Saka to take it. Right arm goes aloft. Waits, delivers it, left-footed. It's an in-swinger. Headed out at the back, drops towards Lewis, stumbles a little bit, ball bobbles, and eventually it will be cleared away by Greece, all in royal blue, as the ball then is played back towards Vlachodimos, who helps it across the back to Koulirakis. On this near side, Giannoulis, the left back, standing in for the Liverpool defender Tsimikas, who's not available for selection tonight due to illness. And now all of a sudden there's a counter-attack and the ball is chipped through the middle, and there's a chance here, and the right-footed curling effort from Pavlidis goes wide. It was Solis who played the ball to him, and from the inside left channel out on the edge of the penalty area, just entered the D, right-footed, curled it wide.
something that England are going to have to be wary of tonight is the counter-attack. We talked about all these attacking players that England have got on show, and Greece at one point, they looked like they were overplaying from the back. England were pressing with the four: Saka, Foden, Bellingham, Anthony Gordon, all did the high press. But in Greece, on the turnover of possession, England thought they should have had a foul on Jude Bellingham, but within 2 passes, Greece were down the other end, and Pavlidis had a shot on Jordan Pickford's goal.
Went well wide. Stones tries to get away from the attentions of Pavlidis, finds Palmer, who has played in that role, as John mentioned, for the under-21s during that successful European Championship winning side in 2023. First time that England had won the under-21 Euros since 1984 under Lee Carsley. Anthony Gordon, of course, part of that side as he hares after his club mate Vlachodimos, who gets the ball away. It was a rather flat clearance and then helped further away by Koulirakis out to this near side, and then the ball is played back by Christos Solis. Had that spell at Norwich City, as indeed did the left back Dimitrios Giannoulis, as Vlachodimos dives on the ball inside his penalty area. Solis 30 appearances for Norwich, whereas Giannoulis just over 100 in rather contrasting fortunes at Carrow Road.
Watching England to start with, we talked about the formation and how it would work in game. Jude Bellingham is playing the highest, the most advanced, as in that 9 position, joined by Gordon, Foden. Rice is sitting the deepest of the midfielders. Ooh, that's an awful tackle.
Well, it's the second of 2 horrible mistakes by Koulirakis. The first was a poor clearance, left-footed by the centre-back on the edge of his own penalty area. Greece gave it away, and then a desperate attempt to try and win it back. He slid in, but was late on Bellingham, and quite rightly has been shown a yellow card.
Really late there, wasn't he? The centre-half, Koulirakis, comes out, loses possession. Bellingham gets the ball away from him, and he does catch Jude Bellingham. Thankfully, Jude Bellingham's up on his feet and making his way towards the 18-yard box. I think it's just a case of timing. He gets a really bad angle, comes in, catches Bellingham on the right ankle. Looks a painful one, but it's just all about timing from Koulirakis.
Haaland has scored for Norway. They lead Slovenia by 1-0. England here 0-0 in these opening 6.5 minutes on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Have a free kick, which Palmer, on what is his first competitive start for England, is lined up. Alexander-Arnold is also there. So it's right of centre. It's not quite 25 yards out from goal. There are 4 blue shirts in the wall inside the penalty area. Vlachodimos just adjusting his gloves. Might not get a good view of this. Palmer runs up, left-footed, and just over the top of the crossbar. Goalkeeper forced to make the movement away to his left, but he didn't get a touch. It just kissed the top of the roof of the net and out for a goal kick, 0-0.
Same movement that Vlachodimos had across his goal for that earlier Jude Bellingham effort, diving away to his left, but he's not going with his left hand, he's going with his top hand, the right hand. I think he had it very, very much covered. It's a decent effort from Cole Palmer. Big ask for him to get it up and down over what is a big wall. Lands on the roof of the net, but the goalkeeper, as I say, went with his top hand and would have had it covered.
Couple of opportunities nevertheless though for England in the opening 8 minutes as Solis picks it up, looks for a through ball. Pavlidis enters the penalty area looking for the cutback, and Lewis was tucked in the left back to clear the ball away. He's had such an impressive start to the season, Rico Lewis, for Manchester City. As over on that far side, now all of a sudden this is Siopis, leaves it for Koulirakis to come forward, the central defender, passes the ball forward then to Emmanuel Siopis, out towards that far side. Courbelis gets a touch, and then on the right it goes out for a Greece throw, 0-0. Paul Robinson.
They move up and down the pitch in this formation. Watching interestingly as to see how they would interact and interchange, but they're moving up and down the pitch as a unit in possession. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Rico Lewis, they've been allowed to play in that hybrid midfield role. It doesn't seem like one goes and the other one stays. They've both got licence to join the midfield, but England in a defensive shape as they are now, it's Bellingham who's the first one out to break for the press.
The voice of Paul Robinson, capped 41 times by England, is on this near side. Giannoulis passes the ball back to Koulirakis. France are leading in Budapest. Israel 0, France 1 is a latest score in that Nations League game, as the ball goes all the way back to Vlachodimos in his dark goalkeeping outfit, short sleeved shirt, white gloves, standing away towards our right. Ball played back by Solis. Siopis gets a little touch, and then it goes back to the 30-year-old Newcastle goalkeeper once again, who of course they signed from Nottingham Forest. 7 appearances last season. As the ball goes long, Stones leaves it for Pickford, and Pickford, in a garish, luminous orange goalkeeping outfit, has given the ball away, and Greece almost score. But what an incredible goal line clearance by Levi Colwill running back, because Pickford got himself into a terrible tangle, and that was a massive let-off. But Levi Colwill, with a presence of mind, with a superb goal line clearance to keep it at 0-0. Greece is saying the ball crossed the line.
It's a long ball over the top, and it's John Stones and Jordan Pickford. It's a really difficult ball. The England goalkeeper comes, so he has to deal with it. John Stones leaves it to Jordan Pickford. He actually deals with the situation, but then he goes on some kind of mazy dribbling run into midfield, loses possession, and it's Caldwell that gets back and scoops it off the line. Incredible clearance.
In comes the corner from the right-hand side. Mavropanos was up from the back. Pickford has come again. The flag's up, hasn't got there. Greece have nodded the ball in, but their celebrations are cut short because the assistant referee has flagged. Mavropanos was all ready to celebrate the West Ham defender. VAR will have a look, but a very dubious 60 seconds of goalkeeping for Jordan Pickford.
He just needs to calm down, Jordan Pickford. How many times do we see him get like this and he gets too involved? He just made the mistake, lost possession. Levi Caldwell scoops one off the line. We're just seeing the VAR. Mavropanos is, fortunately for Jordan Pickford, offside when he heads it into an empty net. Pickford loses possession, scoops off the line for the corner. The corner comes in, it's headed back to the far post. Jordan Pickford comes to get involved. He shouldn't get involved. Goes to punch the ball, completely misses it, and it's headed into an empty net. But he just needs to calm down a little bit. Sometimes as a goalkeeper you try and get involved in situations. When you make a mistake, don't go look to rectify it by doing something you shouldn't.
This is a good spell for Greece here. They are threatening England on the edge of the penalty area. The ball by Auras tried to be chipped out to this near side, took a deflection, back to Pickford. How much will just that simple touch now, and he cleared it away first time left-footed, because what's going through his head as an international goalkeeper now?
His heart rate's through the roof right now. He just made a mistake. He's gone out for a corner, and then he's thought, right, I've just made that mistake, looks terrible, I've got to come for this cross, and he came for a ball and completely missed the punch with a cross that he shouldn't come for. And that's always the hardest thing as a goalkeeper. You try and atone for an earlier error by making a bad decision and coming to get involved in the game when you shouldn't necessarily get involved with the game. Listen, he's got away with one. Levi Caldwell scooped one off the line, the corner's come in. Just relax, get yourself back together again and get back in the game. Don't chase the game by doing things that you shouldn't and make bad decisions, which he almost got caught out again there with the disallowed goal. But we've seen it from Jordan Pickford. That's just his character. We've seen him get involved so many times.
Well, he kept his first clean sheet for Everton at the weekend against Newcastle. Anthony Gordon's going to have to come off the pitch. I think he's taken a knock to the face. I think there might be a little bit of blood, so he's been told he's got to come off. England are temporarily down to 10. They've got to defend a free kick. 0-0 on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds. 12.5 minutes played. Greece have a free kick that goes all the way long, bounces through and safely through to Pickford. So that first touch that he get back involved in the game will just help settle him down.
Well, you could see he didn't want it anywhere near him. That's the first thing I would have done. As soon as the ball comes back, you put your foot through it and try and get it to the other end of the pitch. And he's in possession with the ball now, and he's just literally slowing the game down a little bit, getting his team set and giving Anthony Gordon a little bit of time to get back on the pitch.
Mind you,
he won't thank him for that, will he?
The back pass there from John Stones, he had to hurriedly clear that ball away. It reminded me of, there was a recent interview with your former Leeds teammate Nigel Martin. It was a lovely piece in the Times recently, talking about his son Thomas. And he told a story that David Batty was under pressure, I think from Thierry Henry, and he gave him this short back pass, and Nigel Martin said to David Batty, "What did he do that for?" To which David Batty replied, "Pass completion."
That sounds like Bats.
It does, doesn't it? Just with his dry sense of humour, it tickled me, that one. But
that wouldn't be out of place in the modern game, would it? That would. I mean, some of the passes now, they're like the one that John Stones just gave Jordan Pickford there, 2 yards away from goal, right across the goal line, and goalkeepers are expected to deal with them, and that's the way that the game's changed now.
14 minutes played, so after that double scare, it remains 0-0. There's Alexander-Arnold finds Palmer. Palmer, nice little takedown, and then out to this near side for Bellingham, out towards Gordon on the far side. Bellingham goes ahead of him. Phil Foden hasn't really got into the game a great deal at the moment, hardly mentioned his name, nearly a quarter of an hour played, as here is Palmer playing alongside Rice. No recognised centre forward for England if you missed the team news earlier, and part of that team news, Alexander-Arnold for the first time starting as a right back for 3 successive games. Kyle Walker is on the bench. Palmer wraps it in towards Gordon and he was fouled, and in the central area midway through the Greece half, England get a free kick and we're still at 0-0.
I know we're already 15 minutes in, but Phil Foden, as you say, has been very ineffective so far, and it's almost like him and Jude Bellingham are looking to fill in the same spaces at times.
Well, Foden helps it out to Saka on the right, delivers a cross. Gordon's made a diagonal run and it goes all the way over, and it will be brought away by Lazaros Rota, the 27-year-old right back, who then plays the ball back. England now will press. Vlachodimos, the goalkeeper, helped out on this near side by Koulirakis. Sliding into that was a poor challenge by Giannoulis, but the referee has actually given a foul. Saka on the Greece left back, although Saka is the one who's stayed down.
They've been brave, Greece, in the opening 15 minutes of this game with the ball at the back. They've not panicked, they've not rushed, they've played out through the back, through Rota, Giannoulis there, bringing the ball out. They've looked comfortable in possession, and they're not afraid when England do actually put on the high press. They're not afraid to try and play out and trying to break through the lines like they just did then.
Incidentally, when we mentioned the cricket earlier on, Pakistan closed the 4th day of that first test, 152 for 6, so still trailing by 115. Commentary on Sports Extra tomorrow on the 5th day. From coverage starts at 5:45 in the morning, and the way that Pakistan collapsed, could all be over by 6:30.
I was listening to that on my drive down today, listening to the 5 Live Extra commentary, and all of a sudden the road that was great to bat on all of a sudden got potholes in it, didn't it?
Ball over the top. Bellingham, right hand side, waits, doesn't deliver the ball just yet. Now Goel, it was more of an effort at goal, right footed over the top of that near post, well over the top and out for a goal kick, as Finland are leading the Republic of Ireland by 1-0. Finland are England's opponents on Sunday. We'll have coverage of that for you, 5 o'clock from Helsinki on Sunday. But Ireland and Finland both pointless so far in this group, and that would leave Ireland facing the prospect of potential relegation from League B Group 2.
It's not been a good start for the new manager, hasn't he? The Republic of Ireland haven't really got things quite going as yet, certainly with results.
Ball cleared long by Koulirakis, out to this near side. Challenge comes in from John Stones on Pavlidis. It'll be Lee Carsley who actually picks up the ball, the tracksuit head coach, who just tosses it then to Giannoulis. And Greece go back. 18 minutes nearly played here at Wembley Stadium. Avrapanos goal, as he's on the ball now, back to his goalkeeper. His celebrations were cut short almost immediately. It would have been a historic goal, because Greece have never scored at Wembley, losing 3-0 in 1971, a goalless draw in 1983, and then a heavy defeat back in 1994. So looking for their first goal at Wembley Stadium, but blushes saved by Jordan Pickford. 18 minutes played, still 0-0.
They've been very brave in possession of Greece, and I think it's a different Greece team to what we've seen of recent times. They've had a couple of decent results so far in this group, in Nations League Group B. Matched England's result against the Republic of Ireland, bettered England's result against Finland. They'll be coming here tonight with holding no fear. They'll be coming to have a go at this English team, and you can see that they're comfortable in possession. They're quite happy to have the ball circulating at the back, and they're looking to hit England on the counter-attack.
Well, we said in the build-up with Steve Crossman that Trent Alexander-Arnold from right back will move into that inverted role. He's just hit a delicious diagonal ball out to Rico Lewis, but Greece are going to attack. Mazauras over on that far side making ground, and in the end coming back to help out was Phil Foden, and it goes out of play for a Greece throw over on that far side, the right, still 0-0. But that's the beauty of Trent Alexander-Arnold, isn't it? The fact that he can move into midfield and allows Palmer to move further downfield himself. Yeah,
and I think it's obviously a new system for England. It's a new thing, and you're seeing it. It's not quite clicked yet. There's no real fluidity to it. I mean, it's gone out for a throw-in to Greece in the left-back position. and it was Phil Foden, who's playing as a false 9, who was chasing back into that left-back position. So to say it's fluid and they're a bit like a chameleon, they're changing shape all the time, but actually the player, you don't want Phil Foden in the left-back area. Trent Alexander-Arnold popping up in the hybrid area in midfield, yes, to get the numbers, but there's certain responsibilities that you need in a team structure.
Here is Stones. Greece are pressing, putting England under pressure, but England beat the press, and then Alexander-Arnold's ball bypasses Declan Rice, picked up now by Jude Bellingham. First time that he's played at Wembley Stadium since the Champions League final last season. Finds Gordon ahead of him. Gordon then slows down to a walking pace, back towards Bellingham. Rico Lewis at left back to Declan Rice. Rice now towards John Stones, the England captain. Just outside the centre circle, along the ground finds Saka on the right-hand side. Every England player, all in white, as they play from left to right, is in the Greece half. Colwill now just drops back, his ball out from the back, given away. England try and get it back. Palmer, challenge comes in though from Siopis, who falls to his backside. They get it out now towards Solis on this near side, he runs forward. They've got 2 up with him. This is Solis left-hand side. On the overlap is Giannoulis. Giannoulis now with the cutback, and Greece come very close to getting another goal. Pickford, I think, got his legs to it. But another attacking move by Greece.
That's incredible block by John Stones. I don't think he knows much about it. John Stones is stood right in front of Jordan Pickford, and England get lucky yet again. Greece have had 2 opportunities, one cleared off the line, a goal disallowed, and that's another golden chance. John Stones stood 2 or 3 yards in front of Jordan Pickford, kind of half turns his back on it, and it hits the inside of his right foot and falls harmlessly away to Rico Lewis. But yet again, another opportunity for Greece on the counter-attack. And let's be honest, they've had more opportunities on goal than England have in this first 20 minutes.
Yeah, the alarm bells must be ringing on the England bench.
It's not quite, I mean, listen, we're 20 minutes into a new system, but at the moment it's just not quite clicked, has it?
Bellingham charging through, enters the penalty area, pulls it back. Palmer over the top, left-footed, first-time effort, 10 yards out from goal. Went for power rather than placement and blazed it wide over the crossbar, and it remains 0-0. And England, you'd have thought, with Cole Palmer, would be ahead.
Well, it's just clicked, hasn't it? All of a sudden, said it hasn't clicked, it's just clicked. Jude Bellingham races away down the left-hand side. Great ball in by Anthony Gordon, gets in behind the defenders, just looks up, turns on his left foot, pulls it back to Cole Palmer. 6 yard from goal. Granted, he's got the 2 Greek centre-halves sliding across him, but Cole Palmer, 6-7 yards out on his left foot, doesn't even hit the target. You would expect him to score, wouldn't you?
You certainly would, given that he's in the form that he is. He's England's Player of the Year, of course. He's just picked up that award as Greece are attacking once again, but Colwill just steps forward and prevents it from reaching Pavlidis. Out it goes to Rotter on that far side. Greece all in royal blue, looking to attack. The right back is encouraged to go forward over on that far side. Gordon has gone back with him, tries to pen him in down towards the corner flag on that far side, and due to the presence of Anthony Gordon, he actually wins England a throw deep inside their own half. But midway through the first half, 0-0, and as you say, Greece have had the better opportunities.
They have, yeah, and you touched on Cole Palmer there, been England's Player of the Year. What was the stat you gave me before the game? I think how many games that he'd started? 2 out of the last 9?
2 out of 9.
And that just shows you the impact that he's had as an impact substitute, or the quality that he brings to the team, that he's been named England's Player of the Year, yet he's only started 2 out of the last 9 games.
He was taken into the crypto chamber by John Stones before getting the award. I meant to ask John last night how long they actually stayed in the crypto chamber, as Israel have equalised against France. Israel won, France won, and Italy lead Belgium by 2-0. That's in A2 of the Nations League. 5 Live and BBC Sounds here at Wembley Stadium, and Blakodimos has just put the ball out of play for a throw right down by the corner flag on this near side the right, which Saka finds Palmer. Back it goes to Alexander-Arnold. John Stones just forced to move a little quickly to gather that ball in. Gets it back from Colwill just inside his own half. Alexander-Arnold's ball to Foden, holds off the challenge of Corbelis, and now out to Lewis. Gordon on that far side the left, an opportunity to run at Rotter, and then gives the ball away. Lewis though quickly wins it back. Here is Declan Rice. Cole Palmer back into the centre circle, he finds John Stones. Greece, though, defending well, defending in depth with plenty of blue behind the ball. 24 minutes played, 0-0. Palmer almost taken out, kept his balance, finds Lewis. Lewis runs forward, but Rota, the right back, was tucking in and tracking his every move and took it away off his toes. Colwell down into the ground, will just have enough legs on it to reach Pickford, who hits it first time, all in orange on the edge of his penalty area. That's a good climb in the air by Rota, the right back, and the ball is now floated forward. Solis, nice control with the outside of the right boot, chips it forward. Pavlidis has made the run. Saka had to get back there because Giannoulis had also got forward from left back. They're committing men forward, Greece.
They're confident, they look good in possession, and I think the thing that they've seen Rico Lewis just get forward there, and from the England point of view, they've seen Trent Alexander-Arnold get forward. John Stones and Levi Caldwell, at times they are isolated, and we've seen there a couple of times when you see the wider shot on the turnover of possession. Mavropanos, Koulourakis, the two Greek centre-halves, they're not afraid to just turn it over, play the long ball, play into the striker who's up there, Pavlidis, get him to hold the ball, see if he can get in behind, get a one-on-one, and on turnover, Greece look dangerous.
Ivan Jovanovic, who is their coach, the 62-year-old Serbian, has won both of his games since he took charge, but they've got some defending to do now. Gordon looking for Bellingham on the overlap left-hand side of the penalty area. Bellingham with a block, and Lazaros Rota will get that goal kick for Greece, and he acknowledges that contingent of Greece supporters over on that far side. We talked before about how difficult this game must have been for the Greece players with that sad news regarding George Baldock, but he'll be very much in their thoughts tonight, and they're playing extremely well given the circumstances.
Absolutely, I think it's in everybody's thoughts, and it's difficult for everybody this evening, but I think there's a special place obviously among that Greece squad.
Greece are coming forward again. Zauras on that far side, the right. Solis, Pavlidis are up with him. This is Pavlidis off the chest, right-footed volley as it dropped first time, just inside the penalty area, blocked by Stones, and then that was a foul by the striker on Saka. Getting a lot of joy.
It's a great first touch by Pavlidis there at the far post. Diagonal ball into him, takes on his chest just inside the box. I think it's John Stones in the end who ends up getting a decent block on his volley, but again it's another indication that Greece are not afraid to put bodies forward and attack this England defence, because they have had joy in this first half.
Here is Colwell. 4 changes that Lee Carsley has made from the team that played here against Finland last month. High ball up towards Saka, touches the ball back. Alexander-Arnold deliberately plays it in low. It was a rather heavy touch by the Greece right back Rota, but they get it out to that far side, and Bakasetas is there. He gives Mazauras something to chase as Pickford comes out of his penalty area, left side of the penalty area, as we look to our left, and plays it forward, and then Colwell can carry the ball up towards the edge of the centre circle for Cole Palmer now to take over, coming from that deep position. Foden out now towards Saka. Good game though here at Wembley. Palmer waits, back towards Saka, right corner of the box. Saka, they've doubled up on him, back towards Palmer. Declan Rice gives it back to Palmer, almost threaded the ball through, but that opportunity, it just squeezed it out, did the Greece defence.
I think they're too narrow in. I'm looking at the front four. The Greece defence are doing very, very well because they're keeping everything narrow. Yes, Saka's out on this right hand side, but he's finding himself infield.
He's come forward now, links up with Bellingham, passes the ball out towards Gordon. Gordon now with purpose, enters the penalty area. Behind it goes for a corner kick as France are back in front. Israel 1, France 2.
Both him and Anthony Gordon, Saka and Anthony Gordon, they start the move very, very wide, stretch the pitch, but the way that Greece are defending with Foden and Bellingham in the middle, if Gordon and Saka actually check inside or they bring the ball inside, it's all becoming very, very congested in the middle of the pitch and easy to defend for those two Greek centre-halves. It's all, I mean, we know they're playing with a little bit of fluidity, England. They haven't got that number 9, the figurehead that we all talk about. It just hasn't quite worked as yet.
Trent Alexander-Arnold walks over to the far side to take the England corner kick. The England left as we look here from our commentary position at Wembley. Greece have got everybody back bar Solis, who lurks just outside the D. It's an in-swinging, plenty of curl. Stones is up. Greece get the ball out to Solis, but there's a Greece player who's gone down with a head injury in that crowded penalty area, so quite rightly our referee, Andrea Colombo, stops play just to check on his welfare, and it is Courbellis, the defensive midfielder, who's down.
Yeah, just clash heads with John Stones there in swinging corner from Trent from the far side. Stones goes up, clash of heads, possession turnover again to Greece. It will be absolutely delighted the way that the game's gone for them so far. They've offered something going forward in more than one or two occasions. In fact, arguably, like we've said, they've had the better of the opportunities in this game, and defensively they've not been afraid to play the ball around from the back. England in little fits and starts, we've seen glimmers of the quality on the pitch.
So officers giving it away. Great ball by Alexander-Arnold. Gordon on the run with the header, just over the top. Superb vision by Alexander-Arnold, and Gordon with his head just a matter of inches over the top of the crossbar as it looped its way over Vlachodimos.
Is there anybody better in the final third with a delivery than Trent Alexander-Arnold? I mean, that is an incredible ball into the box. It's great vision to start with, but the execution, it's a late run from Anthony Gordon from deep. Trent Alexander-Arnold plays the ball half the length of the pitch onto the 18-yard box. Gordon makes a great run. The goalkeeper Vlachodimos is off his line. You can see what Gordon's trying to do. He's just trying to lift it over the goalkeeper, but the final execution isn't there. But what an incredible pass by Trent.
Should say as well, and obviously we had the minute silence, or a period of silence, for George Baldock, but quite rightly the FA ahead of the game as well, whilst I think we were listening to the John Stones interview, paid tribute to Lord Herman Ousley, who recently has passed away at the age of 79, the Kick It Out founder. Well, in fact it was Let's Kick Racism Out of Football when it started back in 1993, but a trailblazer in English football and a real inspiration. So he was remembered here tonight at Wembley Stadium. BBC Radio 5 Live, also live on the BBC Sounds app. 0-0 in this Nations League game, but Greece are attacking as Solis latches onto the ball over the halfway line on this near side, the left. Ball now is quickly swept out towards that far side for Mazauras from Bakasetas. Mazauras with the cross. Colwell stands firm, heads it away off the chest, and from a long way out the effort was fired in by Courbellis. Flags up on the far side. It'll be an England free kick. They're not here to park the bus.
No, he's getting a bit of joy. Bakasetas in the middle of the midfield there, isn't he? He's linking all the good play together on the quick turnover of possession. He's the player that they look for, that links defence and attack. Swept the ball out wide there to Masouras very, very quickly, and they do move the ball quickly on the turnover.
Well, it's 5 hours since they last conceded, Greece, as Alexander-Arnold's attempted ball blocked by Giannoulis. No Tsimikas tonight, missing this game through illness. On Sunday they will entertain Ireland in Athens for their fourth game in this Nations League campaign. Two sides with 100% winning starts after their opening two games, as Rice touches the ball to Stones. Stones right of the centre circle, can run forward. 13 minutes to go to the break. Stones finds Palmer. Palmer able to turn. Bellingham tries to wriggle his way through, passes the ball to Saka, right corner of the area. His cross though was blocked, comes back. Pavlidis heads it then to Solis, with facing his own penalty area. Back to Giannoulis, the left back, who clears. Time though for Colwell, because everybody had dropped back, so it's going to come back at Greece at this stage, all in royal blue. Here is Declan Rice to Stones, just out to this right hand side at the moment. Cole Palmer seeing a lot of the ball. Palmer runs forward out to Alexander-Arnold. Bellingham now comes to collect it. Forward ball to Palmer. Those two are linking up. Still Foden can't get into the game. Here is Palmer. Foden wants it. He's trying to stay central at the moment. Here is Alexander-Arnold. But again, they defend well to Greece, and Solis now can come clear. Pavlidis holds it up, plays it. And now all of a sudden the switch is on. Bakasetas, if they could get it out towards Mazauras on that far side, the right. Back it goes though to Courbellis, who waits, and then they just slow things down. Still 0-0, suits them very much, this Greece.
So you can see they've got a game plan. You can see that they've come here not just to sit and defend, but also they know the way. Once they saw the England team, they saw the players in the attacking areas that would press, and they've got a way around breaking the press. And as I've said again, they're not afraid to either go longer into the strikers or the wide areas, into Bakasetas in the middle of midfield and link the two, or actually play and try and break the lines like they are doing at the moment.
Ivan Jebanovic replaced the interim Nikos Papadopoulos, who had actually taken over when Gus Poyet, his 2-year contract, ran out back in March, where they lost to Georgia in a playoff for the Euros. So Papadopoulos was the interim manager, and there is the 62-year-old Serbian with his black overcoat, that shock of grey hair. It's a good full set of...
I'm going to say shock. There's a lot of it, isn't there?
There is, isn't there?
It's quite an imposing figure from back up here in the stand, isn't it? Just a black anorak and a great big bunch of grey hair.
Yeah.
I'm only jealous.
You and me both.
Not the grey bit. I've got that.
You and me both. 5 Live, 0-0. 10 minutes to go to half-time. Lacademos with just the one save. That Palmer effort as well, and Gordon both off target. Greece, if you've just joined us, did have the ball in the back of the net, but ruled out for offside from the West Ham United defender Mavropanos. Here is Phil Foden, midway through his own half to collect the ball back. Pickford tells Colwell to get forward as Stones now runs with real purpose. Said last night he was going to do his talking on the pitch. That's his leadership qualities as he captains England for the first time. Alexander-Arnold floats the ball over, just over the head of Gordon, headed out by Mavropanos, and then Greece play it back to Mazauras on that far side. But Lewis is quick to close him down, and as a result of that, England win the ball. Lewis in field, Gordon prods it back, Foden in that midfield role now. So there's a lot of fluidity about England's play, a lot of rotation going on as Foden now has gone forward, and he then runs into space and then tries to carry the ball and darts into the penalty area. That was good defending by Rota, the right back, to go back with him. He was alert, and Greece have dealt with it as Lewis tries to win it back. It's a good test, this, for England.
I think what you say there about fluidity and interchange, the interchange is there, but maybe not necessarily the fluidity. It's brave by Lee Carsley what he's done, because I mean, you did the press conference this week at the training ground, and then he's not had the players that long. The point I'm trying to make, from the weekend's Premier League games,
Palmer looks for Bellingham, headed away by Mavropanos. Sorry, Paul.
To the time they met at St George's Park and then travelled here to London. An international manager isn't blessed with an amount of time with his players quite often. So you look at the last Premier League game to now.
Saka, edge of the area. Saka's shot takes a deflection. He's going to run behind for a corner.
And he's done the changes he's made in the team. He's playing with a false number 9. He's playing a different system with different personnel. And you look at the amount of time. What would you say? I mean, you did the press conference last night. He's probably had 2 full days to work with the players, because we're on Thursday, which is unusual for an international game to be played for an England point of view after the Premier League, the weekend fixtures. So the time that he's had actually on the grass with a fully fit amount of players to work on this new system, it's pretty evident tonight that it's not quite there yet, is it?
Yeah, 2 training sessions. They linked up at St George's Park on Monday. Corner taken short, still goalless on 5 Live. Saka gets it back from Foden. Palmer now comes onto the ball. Palmer with a curling ball in. It was an inviting cross, headed away by Mavropanos, picked back up on the half volley by Rice, hits it to the feet of Saka, right corner of the area, back towards Cole Palmer, finds Saka once again, forward ball to Bellingham. There we just saw it, the little back heel by Bellingham didn't quite come off. The interception from Greece. Giannoulis now plays it down the line. Solis tickles the ball on the inside, but Pavlidis had stepped forward, and now all of a sudden stepping onto the ball is Alexander-Arnold, back out towards the right hand side for Saka. We've got 7 minutes to go to half time. Little touch there by Bellingham. It was a nonchalant little ball, a little flick with the right foot towards Alexander-Arnold, who was ahead of him. On the stretch, Bellingham back towards Saka. Foden, he was caught. Free kick, direct free kick. Corbelis. Foden was just too quick for the defensive midfielder.
He just swiped him, hasn't he, Corbelis? It's a really poor free kick to give away, and it's in a fantastic area for England. Phil Foden's got his back to goal, and he whips the ball round the corner with the outside of his foot, and as you say, just too quick for Corbelis, can't do anything, just catches Phil Foden, and it's in a really, really good position, this free kick. It's similar to the one that Cole Palmer just got up and down, couldn't quite hit the target on earlier, but it's made, you would think, for a left foot, but it's Trent who's putting the ball down.
So Alexander-Arnold, bearing in mind that, 23 yards out from goal, it's right of centre. If Alexander-Arnold hits it right-footed, it's going to be arcing its way past the 3 in the wall.
I like the way you just worked that out. For those of you listening, Ian's just worked this out brilliantly with his left hand and the goal.
But Palmer left-footed would be an in-swinger. It is the outswinger, and then a little touch by the outstretched left leg of Mavropanos.
Exactly how you just showed everybody.
I was showing myself. I was trying to describe it to the listener and show myself, and also to you, making sure I got my angles right.
And you did, and you described it perfectly.
5 minutes to go to half-time. There is a stoppage in play. It'll be a Greece free kick. Italy are down to 10 men. Lorenzo Pellegrini has been sent off as they lead Belgium by 2-0 elsewhere in the Nations League. Tomorrow, from 7 on 5 Live Sport, there will be an international programme, 90 minutes of football discussion. Saturday, incidentally, we'll have WSL coverage of Arsenal against Chelsea, rugby union commentary, Gloucester against Bath just after 3:30, and from 6 o'clock the Super League Grand Final will be live on 5 Live, Wigan against Hull KR. 0-0 though in the latter stages of this first half for this Nations League game, and Declan Rice was fouled there, and that was by Bakasetas, who's just been spoken to by the referee, just caught him on his heel. England have taken the free kick already. Again in that central role, the right back, Alexander-Arnold, passed the ball forward, knocked back towards Rice. Rice just outside the centre circle now finds Stones. Both full-backs, well, Alexander-Arnold's inverted, Lewis is high up the pitch on the far side, the left. So England are then vulnerable if they lose the ball to a counter-attack down the flanks.
It's very, very difficult to pinpoint anyone's positions in this England team the way that they're playing. Apart from John Stones and Levi Caldwell, they're obviously the two centre-halves who are regularly in position, and Declan Rice probably sitting in front of them. The rest of the team, they've been allowed to interchange in a way that you see Manchester City and a lot of other top teams play. But these players haven't played together that often, and the understanding may not just quite be as the manager was hoping for at the moment. There's a lot of interchange of positions, players popping up all over on the pitch.
Belgium have got a goal back against the 10 men of Italy. Italy 2, Belgium 1. And notice that there are 4 white paper aeroplanes that have made their way onto the playing surface. Game hasn't been that bad, but it is still 0-0. Rice running forward, runs into a little bit of traffic. Gordon tries to get the ball back with England. Foden into a challenge as well, but Greece get it away. Sayopis back then to Mavropanos. And now with his fellow central defender Koulirakis, Vlachodimos, it goes back to the keeper. Had to hit it first time right-footed. Pavlidis then heads it back towards Bakasetas, out towards Masauras on that far side, and Greece now getting into England territory. And then slowing things back down once again with 3 minutes to go to the break on BBC Radio 5 Live. Ball from Rota. Pavlidis drops deep, hits the ball forward. Masauras coming in off that right touchline will be beaten to the ball by Colwill. Goes to Pickford, clears it to Lewis. Lewis passes the ball out left to Colwill. Rice is ahead of him down that left touchline. Linking up now is Colwill, just ushers it down. Bellingham with a bat flick, asking a lot of Colwill. Kept on running down that left-hand side, and Vlachodimos clears, but England win it back. It was a header in with the interception of Gordon to Foden, back towards Gordon, and the backtracking Greece players concede the corner kick. I think it might have been off Sayopis.
Just another example of the licence that Lee Carsley and the freedom that he's given these players. Levi Caldwell there finds himself down the left wing. He doesn't think to turn back and go and get back in position. He keeps going in an attacking position and tries and links up with Phil Foden, and eventually gets England a corner over on that far side. Well,
Lee Carsley wants his team to play football with risks. He wants to be bold, he wants to be attacking, and certainly the way that they've lined up, and they've had to endure the odd scare here tonight, but it's still 0-0 as he watches on. England have a corner kick far side the left. We are close to half time, 90 seconds of normal time of this first half remaining. In comes the corner kick, headed up in the air by Koulirakis, drops just to the right of the 6-yard box, and then the header then by the right back Rota concedes another corner kick. There's in that melee, there's another Greece player who's gone down with a bit of an issue, and in fact it is Bakasetas who has still sitting on the floor, but the referee, it's not a head injury, will tell him you either leave the field of play or you get back to your feet. And that's exactly what he does, the Greece captain. England wait to take the corner kick for what is now the last 60 seconds of this first half, and we're still awaiting the breakthrough. They take it short on that far side. Back to Alexander-Arnold. Goes further down that left touchline to Palmer midway through the Greece half. Now they work it in the central area. Lewis to Saka. Back towards Lewis once again. Palmer has stayed to his left. Palmer edging his way towards the penalty area. Out to Alexander-Arnold on the left. Doesn't deliver the cross just yet. Left corner of the penalty area. Waits for the run of Gordon. Gordon outside the area. Shot charged down by Pavlidis. Solis looking to turn, counter-attack potentially could be on. His ball forward, and it was a coming together of the two number 7s, and Saka just with a little tug back on Masauras, giving away a free kick. As the 45 minutes are up, we'll find out how much added on time, and Saka is booked.
He knew what he was doing there, did Saka. Masauras had just got the wrong side of him, and it was the ball over the top, longer ball that England had been caught with before. And Saka makes it look like it coming together between the two players, but he was very, very clever. He knew that Masauras had got the wrong side of him.
The additional 60 seconds, just the 1 minute of added on time, which we're now into. Cue for a lot of the supporters around us to head either to their hospitality suites or the concourse for a bit of half-time refreshment. So all of a sudden there's quite a lot of empty red seats appearing around Wembley for what is an extremely healthy crowd. I think it was a near sellout expected here tonight, but it is still 0-0 in stoppage time. Colwill up towards Gordon. That was a heavy first touch, gave the ball away as a result. Mavropanos now midway through his own half. Bellingham going to run towards him, and that is the end of the first half. England 0, Greece 0. Greece have had a goal disallowed. Mavropanos with a header ruled out for offside. Correct decision. But before that, after a very uncertain bit of goalkeeping in a 60-second period for Jordan Pickford, when Awol lost the ball and Colwill with a goal line clearance to save his blushes, England have tested Vlachodimos, who's tipped over a Bellingham effort early on. Couple of efforts off target. What have you made of it, Paul Robinson?
Difficult to judge after 45 minutes on what's clearly a new formation with different personnel. It's just not quite clicked for England. I mean, it would be harsh to sit here and say, listen, it hasn't worked, they're really missing a number 9. But watching it from up here, we've seen interchange, we've seen the change in the positions, you can see what he's doing, but the fluidity and the understanding just isn't there. Saying that, they've had the chances. Cole Palmer had a fantastic chance, 6 yards out on the left foot, blazed it over the bar. You'd expect him to do better. Anthony Gordon's had a header from 12 yards out, should probably hit the target, 1-on-1 with an on-rushing goalkeeper. So the chances have been there for England, but defensively slightly worried. I think in all honesty, if we were playing against one of the superpowers of European football, we'd be going in behind at half-time.
Half-time at Wembley, England 0, Greece 0. Steve?
Disjointed, Paul Robinson.
Clunky, disjointed. No rhythm to it. They look like a team that are trying out a new formation that have only had 2 days to work on it. Oh, that's the case.
Well, I agree totally with what you were saying there. Obviously, against a better team, England would be behind, but I suppose that's the point of testing it out in a game like this. As much as it is a big game, you know, you wouldn't do something like this at a major tournament having not done it before against a better opposition, would you? No,
and I've been a big advocate of picking a team and a formation to suit the opposition you're playing. I'm not so sure if we were playing at home tonight against France or Belgium, we would see this 11 in this formation. But this is what he wants to do. You change your team, you change your formation for the opposition you're playing. We don't need to have 2 sitting holding midfielders or 3 defensive midfielders against the Greece team that you want to attack and you want to get a result against. I think there's personnel and formations for your opposition, rather than in the past we've been very, very stringent with a formation and just different personnel slotted into that formation, as we see quite often with Premier League managers. Listen, it's refreshing, it's a change. At the moment it's work in progress, and it's not looked great so far.
No, it hasn't looked great, but I suppose at the same time, do you sort of say, and look, we don't know what's going to happen in the second half, but do you sort of have to say fair play to Lee Carsley in that, you know, we talk about all these games as auditions for the job full time. He could have gone a lot safer than this, but he hasn't. He's done what he wants to see.
If you're going to do it, you do it your own way.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that the likes of Cole Palmer, Saka, Foden, Bellingham, Gordon, every time we do it, Steve, we talk on the radio 2 or 3 times a week. How do you get these players in the team? How do you get the best out of these players? He's got to play, he's got to play, he's got to play. And Lee Carsley tonight, he's put everyone on the pitch. It might not have worked, but listen, it's only been 45 minutes. It's work in progress. You can see what they're doing going forward. Defensively, I do worry about them. They look susceptible, so susceptible on the turnover. Sometimes, as John Stones and Levi Caldwell, very, very isolated. And like we said, against better teams, they would have been picked apart. But they might not necessarily have played like this against better teams. There's stuff there that's impressed me. They've created chances. But the understanding in the forward areas, they're all seemingly getting in each other's way, if that makes sense.
Right, thank you very much both. We'll be back at Wembley for second half commentary. So England 0, Greece 0 at Wembley Stadium at the break. We're going to be back in Multan shortly to hear more about England's remarkable day in Pakistan. We'll also hear from the Wales head coach Craig Bellamy, who's been speaking in the last couple of hours ahead of their Nations League game with Iceland tomorrow. We'll do all of that after the news on 5 Live with Fraser Denton.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Thanks, Steve. Good evening. Authorities in Lebanon say 18 people have been killed and 92 wounded in fresh Israeli strikes on central Beirut, with BBC reporters seeing 2 plumes of smoke from what appeared to be 2 separate strikes close to Bakura. The Israel Defense Forces previously described the neighbourhood as Hezbollah-affiliated, but haven't yet commented on tonight's strikes. Meanwhile, the UN peacekeeping force in southern Lebanon, UNIFIL, says an Israeli tank shell fired at its headquarters today wounded 2 soldiers. It said attacks on peacekeepers were a grave breach of international law. Israel says it had urged UNIFIL peacekeepers to stay in protected spaces during its operations against Hezbollah. President Biden has said lives are still on the line in Florida after Hurricane Milton and urged residents in shelters to wait for the all clear. At least 6 people were killed when the storm moved across the state last night, knocking out power to millions of homes. The government says its changes to workers' rights will also help businesses and the economy. It's published details of the Employment Rights Bill, which gives millions of people statutory sick pay and parental leave from the first day in a job. Small businesses have expressed concerns about the impact of the measures. And the Princess of Wales has carried out her first public engagement with Prince William since she completed her cancer treatment. They met the parents of victims of the Southport stabbings and some of the emergency services who responded.
BBC Radio 5 Live.
Monday to Wednesdays from 11. Join Nagaman Chetty for the latest headlines.
We're going to try to explain what's happening right now.
Rail society, in broad terms, I think is still in shock.
Keep your questions coming in. We all have them at this moment in time.
Thursdays and Fridays from 11 a.m. Adrian Chiles.
Things could have gone horribly wrong and we'd be doing a very different interview now, wouldn't we? Irresistible force, machine, these words all apply.
Weekdays from 11.
BBC Radio 5 Live.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport.
With Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
So, England 0, Greece 0, half-time in the Nations League at Wembley Stadium. We'll be back there for second half commentary shortly. Tomorrow morning, TMS is back on air on 5 Sports Extra from 5:45. England need 4 wickets in Multan to win the first test against Pakistan. Heck of a day today. Harry Brook became the first England batter for 34 years to hit a triple century in Test cricket. His partnership of 454 with Joe Root, the 4th highest ever in Test cricket and England's highest, full stop. Stephen Finn, Andy Zaltzman and correspondent Jonathan Agnew have been reflecting on the day in the TMS podcast.
Let's start with Joe Root, because 262, he was saved a couple of times with those inside edge. You know, if you look at, if you really analyse an innings, because whereas Brooks, I think, was absolutely completely flawless, Root was really dropped badly on 181 today. These things happen, don't they? And you end up getting your highest Test score. But for him to play so relentlessly and to fight through the effects of yesterday, where he could barely get off the field. It's a remarkable performance. Never hurried. I mean, 325 balls for his 262, and he hit 17 fours. You know, it's not a huge number, is it? And yet England was still rattling on at that rate.
But he ran so much. I'd love to know how many threes he ran within the innings as well. But to score 262 and only hit 17 boundaries, Harry Brook, in contrast, 317, hit 29 fours and 3 sixes, so far less running. No wonder he looked fresher when he walked off the pitch than Joe Root did. But Joe Root did the really difficult work, actually building those partnerships with Crawley and then Duckett, promoted up to number 3, where he ideally doesn't like batting, brought to the crease early because of that early Ollie Pope dismissal. He had to do a lot of work actually in the early parts of that innings to negate Pakistan, and you could see every time that Pakistan felt as though they were in the game, their energy went up, they were circling around the batters, and he just had to keep sucking the life out of Pakistan, and he earned the right then for those drops and the ability or being allowed to score those runs, and he laid the way for Harry Brook to go on and play that brilliant innings that he did. It was a wonderful lesson in subcontinental endurance, technique, concentration and skill, and befitting that he went past Sir Alistair Cook during that innings as well.
Yeah.
Just quickly on those threes, Joe hit 12 threes to go 27 twos. Brook hit 4 threes, 31 twos. Although, of course, Brook had to run all of Root's threes as well. They were both clocking up some miles.
Didn't you work out 3.75 miles?
There was still quite a long time to go in his innings. Also, Root's already opened up a gap of almost 200 runs over Alistair Cook in the all-time England runs chart. So Cook's, if he's going to come out of retirement, he's going to have a bit of work to do.
Yeah. In the end, I mean, he just missed a straight ball. Really. I think finally exhaustion really did overcome him. Salman, the part-time spinner, really having to bowl because Abrar, just to add to Pakistan's woes, was in hospital. So I hope he's going to be all right. But he was obviously unable to bowl today. But he just basically missed a straight ball. He walked straight off. He didn't even wait for the decision. He'd gone, I think, by then.
Yeah, I think he was seeing the ball so well he could have done the umpire's job for him. He just went back to one that maybe was a touch full to go back to, and it was the shot of a tired man, but understandably tired.
Okay.
Stephen Finn there with Jonathan Agnew and Andy Zaltzman. You can listen to the full TMS podcast on BBC Sounds. Commentary of the 5th and final day, 5 Sports Extra from 5:45 tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night on 5 Live Sport, you'll get updates of Wales against Iceland in the Nations League. Wales unbeaten in the campaign. Craig Bellamy has been speaking to the media today.
Feeling towards training this week has been really positive. So we feel we've definitely been able to build on training, been able to spend more time with each other, in that case then be able to do more work out on the pitch but also in meetings. So another level of information being able to turn over, which I feel is hugely beneficial for us. We'll see tomorrow if it's able to push us up again. But so feeling of the week so far has been really positive from not just players but from everyone, because obviously it's very easy when you first come in, everyone's positive, new change, everyone has energy. You'll go into the second camp. Well, my idea was going to say, well, let's see if, and it hasn't. It's been really positive again, and that goes from everyone. Everyone is like, here we go again, because we have a group of players like Iceland do as well. They know what elite is. Qualify for major tournaments, you are elite. Becomes a certain standard you have to abide by to be able to do that. And this group of players know that. They know the standards. They've set those standards as well. So that's been really refreshing. It's been really positive. So great so far.
BBC Wales football correspondent Rob Phillips has joined us. Evening, Rob.
Hi, Steve.
Hi. Feeling going into this one then?
I think the feeling is always with Craig Bellamy, right. Let's look forward to this and let's have a go. That was certainly the hallmark of his first 2 games. He couldn't tell much from Montenegro because the rain was monsoon-like and it was just a battle. But against Turkey, there was definitely a sort of fresh and more positive approach than under Rob Page. Didn't get the win, but I think people were encouraged. I mean, the big message I keep getting from players is that the camp is really, and you'll understand this, really intense. They're not training, they're having meetings after meetings. And he puts a lot of story in what you heard there about players taking on board information being libraries. He called Connor Roberts a library in that he was able to absorb information from his coach and change things tactically when required. And he expects an awful lot of his players, does Craig Bellamy.
I was listening to Joe Rodon's interview that he was done, and he was talking, wasn't he, about the level and detail of everything being top class. That's one thing that we've learned quite quickly about Craig Bellamy as a head coach. He is very much a details man.
Oh, absolutely. He did surprise us in the first two games. They played very well against Turkey, who are a decent side, as we saw in the Euros in the summer. But then he made 4 or 5 changes for the next game, including the goalkeeper, which you don't often see. And that is one of the problem areas for Wales, in that Danny Ward, Adam Davis, and in the last game, Carl Darlow hardly play for their clubs. So there were big calls to make, but he was big on, look, you can only put so much into one game, and I will change things. And when he announced his squad this time, he said again, don't be surprised to see 3-4 changes, whatever happens in Iceland, for the Montenegro game at home in Cardiff on Monday.
Good stuff, Rob. Thank you very much. Rob Phillips, BBC Wales football correspondent. BBC Radio Wales have commentary of that game tomorrow night on 5 Live. We will be keeping you up to date. Kelly Summers with you. Big international football 90 minutes to start the show tomorrow. International football very much our focus tonight as well. We are bringing you full commentary of England 0, Greece 0. Second half about to get underway at Wembley Stadium. Ian.
Thank you, Steve. Yet to see the two sides emerge just as yet. But what do you think will be the theme of that conversation in England dressing room, Paul?
I don't think he'll be too disappointed with his way that his team have played going forward as they emerge from the tunnel beneath us, slowly, one by one, not really in a line, all still talking to each other. I think he'll be pleased with the way they were going forward defensively. There'll be a couple of issues, but I think the thing for Lee Carsley tonight is, everybody will say it and we'll say it, as soon as he makes a change and brings Ollie Watkins on, people will say, well, that didn't work. But he's given something an opportunity and he's going to give it time to work. The players have come back on the pitch now. It doesn't look at first glance like he's made any changes, so it's something that he's going to stick with. I mean, the quality on the pitch is there to see, but like we said with Steve when we went into the half-time break, it just wasn't cohesive. It was a bit clunky and it looked new and it looked rare, didn't it?
Well, neither side has made a change at half-time, so England have Pickford in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Stones the captain, Colwill and Lewis the defence, Rice and Palmer, Saka on the right, Gordon on the left, Foden, Bellingham through the middle. England are in all white, so the second half they'll be playing from right to left, we look, as Greece are in all royal blue, and they have Vlachodimos in goal, Rota, Mavropanos, Koulirakis, Giannoulis the defence, Psyopis, Kouabelis, Bakasetas in the midfield, with Solis on the left, Mazauras on the right, and Pavlidis through the middle as our referee. Just one more thing, Colombo is the name of the referee, Andrea Colombo. Sorry.
It tickled you, that, didn't it? You'd like to think you'd be able to solve everything tonight.
Well, for something to solve at the minute, that's in the hands of Lee Carsley, who just crouches down in his technical area as Greece are playing from left to right. It wasn't the fact that it was John Murray's reaction that tickled me. Just the predictable roll of the eyes that I seem to get on quite a frequent basis, actually, whenever I'm in his company. Anyway, we're back underway on 5 Live, and Palmer to Lewis on this near side. And then back with Colwill and to Jordan Pickford. Just talking about that conundrum, though, I remember with in Gareth Southgate, and it was 3 years ago, there was a real clamour at the time for Foden, Mount, Sterling, Kane and Grealish all to start. And he did start them in a World Cup qualifier at home to Hungary as Saka on the right-hand side. Alexander-Arnold with the back heel, just doesn't quite reach Foden. And after all that clamour, as Alexander-Arnold darts back off the field of play to win the ball back for England, and England are then back in possession with Rice. And that night against Hungary, it didn't quite click. It was a 1-1 draw here. But whenever you hear Lee Carsley he's talking about making sure that the balance of the side is right. And Watkins and Solanke on the bench will be thinking, I wonder if I might get my opportunity at some stage, especially with another game on Sunday to come away to Finland. As Gordon enters the penalty area left-hand side. Back to Bellingham. Bellingham looking for a shooting opportunity, but runs into a couple of blue shirts. Sayopis will bring the ball clear. Solis is ahead of him. He's now holding on to the ball. Running back, Palmer did well. Palmer went down on one knee but still won the challenge. Now links up with Foden. Palmer's had a fine game. He wants to be involved all the time, doesn't he?
He does. I think he's a little bit frustrated in the deeper position, the deeper line area, not really getting an opportunity to time his runs.
His forward ball though finds Saka. Last touch might have come off Saka, indeed it did. It will be a goal kick to Greece, 0-0 early in the second half.
What you said, Ian, about the quality of players and trying to get them all on the pitch at the same time. That's the job of the England manager.
Yeah.
And we all became England managers in the summer, didn't we? We all had an opinion. We all had a thought after a game. Oh, why isn't he playing? Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? Lee Carsley's now in the place where a lot of us, at the end of the summer, after the Euros, would have quite happily picked an England team, and we all think we can do it. He's now got the opportunity to show that he can do it.
Well, missing the injured Kane and Grealish, you look as attacking options on the bench for England, who only have a squad of 22 as a result of those two missing tonight. Madueke, Solanke, Watkins and Curtis Jones, who's been called up still to get his first England cap, awaiting his debut. As Greece looking for a ball over the top to Mazauras. Colwill comes across, snuffs out that threat. Out it goes for a throw to Greece, level with the penalty area on this near right hand side. Level with the penalty area. So being urged on by, must be at least 3,000 Greece supporters over on that far side. Down the line it goes. Mazauras to Rota, runs forward, it opens up actually for Rota, left-footed shot blocked by Stones. Back to the edge of the area, Colwell with a clearance. It was a hurried clearance down into the ground. Coming onto this ball now is Koulirakis, the central defender, to the edge of the area. Koulirakis, Pavlidis still going. Pavlidis, fine goal! Greece have scored their first ever goal at Wembley, and it's one to remember for Pavlidis as Greece take the lead. Right-footed, beat Pickford. Very well taken. England 0, Greece 1.
And you can't say it's not been coming. It's a brilliant finish when he gets there, Pavlidis, but he's still got a lot of work to do when the ball reaches him. The move starts off on this that right-hand side. It's Rota cuts in. The ball ends up bobbling about the England penalty area. They don't clear it. They get a number of opportunities to clear it. And when it does actually come to Pavlidis, he's surrounded by bodies. John Stones is in there, just waiting to see the replays to see who else was around him. And it's a great finish. He gets it onto his right foot. It's bobbling around, and he smashes it past Jordan Pickford. He's got no chance, the England goalkeeper. And you can't say that this hasn't been coming.
And he made a point as he raced over to those celebrating Greece supporters on the far side and pointed to the black armband. That was very much with George Baldock in their thoughts as Greece lead by 1-0. A blue smoke bomb has been let off in that end as well, and now they've also come across to this near side, and they are holding up a white Greece shirt with a number of George Baldock on the back. They're all pointing to it, and the England supporters are actually applauding that gesture as well. The number 2 of George Baldock, who has tragically passed away at the tender age of 31. A poignant moment for the Greece players as they celebrate taking the lead here at Wembley by 1-0.
That's a fantastic gesture, an absolutely fantastic gesture. They celebrated the goal, and immediately their thoughts turned to their once teammate. Lovely moment for Greece getting the goal, but the way that was celebrated, that was done with real quality, real heart and real emotion.
There's going to be a change for England. Bukayo Saka is coming off. Noni Madueke is coming on for his second appearance in an England shirt. Made his debut against Finland, indeed got an assist for Harry Kane that night here at Wembley last month. So the Chelsea player is on, and England are behind by 1-0.
You can't say it hasn't been coming. They've had the warnings in the first half, and I think Greece in the second half, they started out a lot more adventurous. Pavlidis, Bakasetas joining in. They were pressing more bodies forward. You could see they've grown in confidence since the first half. The manager spoke to them at half time and said, look, you're away at Wembley, you're against England, but you have actually had some real good opportunities. You've got a chance here, and they've taken it early in the second half.
They've never ever beaten England, Greece. They've played 9, they've lost 7, they've drawn 2. 2 draws that both came here at Wembley. England then have a corner kick. Madueke is going to take it on that far side, the right. Lazy sort of a run-up, but headed out very, very well by Mavropanos, and Greece see the ball back. Interesting to see whether Greece now adopt their approach to the game, whether they still go after England when they can, or do they sit back as now they have something to protect.
I think we've just seen an example of it there. England goalkeeper Jordan Pickford on the ball, a long way outside his box. Greece quite happy to have the high press. See England now in possession with Colwill playing it around at the back, but Greece is still pressing exactly as they did for the goal.
And that is going to be a yellow card for Declan Rice for a wild swipe as he caught Siopis in the midfield, and the Italian referee shows a yellow to the England midfielder.
They're off it at the moment, England, aren't they? They've come out in the second half, they've been rocked by the goal. You can see it's just not quite there. There's something missing. Those Greek supporters away in the corner, they're making a real noise inside Wembley now.
So waiting to take the free kick is Bakasetas midway through the England half. A high line from England to try and protect Jordan Pickford. It's scooped high towards the far post, downward header, and again England usher the ball behind for a corner kick. Pickford had come off his goal line without a great deal of conviction, and in the end it was an outstretched leg by Bellingham that guided it behind.
That's Jude Bellingham back there defending an England defensive free kick, but it's him who's hooking it off the line. Such a simple ball in, free header at the far post. Bellingham has to clear the lines.
Corner kick to Greece, who lead by a goal to 0. Outswinger from the left, headed up in the air by John Stones, comes back out towards that far side, fired in, and Pickford just spooned the ball away as he dived forward inside his 6-yard area. That was a fierce effort, with fist across the playing surface.
Do you know what, that looks really awful and ugly from Jordan Pickford, the England goalkeeper, but it was so effective. It was a horrible ball, whipped in behind the defence, straight at the England goalkeeper. He knew that if he fumbled it, he was conceding the goal. It was more like a two-handed spoon away, but he got 2 fists on it and he managed to get it out the 18-yard box. Looked awful, looked ugly, but really effective.
Well, Lee Carsley was hoping to become the first England manager since Fabio Capello to win his opening 3 competitive games without conceding. So England have conceded for the first time under the interim head coach Lee Carsley. How do they respond? 10 minutes into the second half, Greece lead by a goal to 0. BBC Radio 5 Live and the BBC Sounds app. Colwill hits a flat ball forward. Gordon will give chase. Out to this near side, the left. Gordon being held up there by Rota, has some support there by Rico Lewis. Infield to Foden with his back to goal, just bobbled a little bit for Foden as he plays it back out to Gordon. Now with Foden, Siopis there with the interception. Mazauras holds on to the ball, down the line on this right hand side it goes. The bearded Siopis continues to come forward. Declan Rice tries to hold him up, snapping into the challenge. Great tenacity by Siopis, but England in a very tight area of the field, very congested, get it up towards Gordon. I'm going to say Rota though has done well at right back. He's always been alert, he's dealt with the danger.
And that's where the goal came from, his marauding run down this right hand side, his initial cut into the box, and that's where the goal came from. Siopis as well in midfield. They've shown a lot of strength, a lot of character, grit and determination, and it's been a tough game for England so far. And we talked about the formation and what Lee Carsley would and wouldn't do. He had the perfect opportunity to bring Ollie Watkins on if he wanted to, with the injury to Saka, but he hasn't. He's brought Madueke on and stuck with the same system.
Well, here is Madueke on that far side, the right, down towards the touchline he goes. England in all white, playing from right to left as we look. Here is Palmer, touches the ball to Phil Foden. Foden now goes square. Rico Lewis They just close it down. A lot of blue shirts back behind the ball. England trying to find a way through. Lewis and Foden trying to interchange. A little bit maybe too intricate, really. And Greece defending in numbers. Bellingham helps it out wide towards the right. Madueke looks now maybe for an opportunity here. Madueke cuts inside. Shot charge down. Will spin out towards this near side for Gordon. England now are on the front foot looking for an equaliser. Left-hand side of the penalty area. Gordon teasing his way forward, right corner of the box. Lewis goes square, fractionally behind Declan Rice, 25 yards out from goal. Alexander-Arnold joins the attack, back with Rice, but being forced back now, England, by this royal blue of Greece, protecting their lead. Bellingham linking up on that far side, waiting, passing the ball back out towards the right for Madueke. Alexander-Arnold has gone on ahead of him, not utilised. Little drag back inside by Madueke. Now it's with John Stones to Colwill. Every England player is in the half away towards our left. Here is Rico Lewis, darts forward, threads it through, too far ahead of Palmer. It'll peter out for a goal kick. England still trail.
Too narrow and too predictable. When they get possession, the wide players do what they've done, what they've been coached to do. They hit the white lines. You look at Madueke, who's come on, he goes to the right-hand side, Gordon at this left-hand side. But as soon as the move progresses, everybody seems to congeal in the middle of that pitch. Foden and Bellingham are getting in each other's way, and then when you put Madueke inside, Anthony Gordon comes inside. Everything's happening within the width of the 18-yard box, and it's very, very easy for this Greece defence to defend at the moment.
Liam Scales has scored for Ireland. Finland 1, Ireland 1. Ollie Watkins is going to be coming on for England. So they've been playing for nearly an hour without a recognised centre forward, and Ollie Watkins has got the call.
Been trying not to say it the whole game because we know about a number 9, a figurehead, but they have missed one. We know they're trying a new system, we know they're trying to interchange and what they're trying to do, but they have missed that figurehead of a number 9, somebody who occupies the two centre halves, somebody who makes runs in behind, somebody that actually creates space for players like Foden and Bellingham in behind them. They've missed that player tonight.
The voice of Paul Robinson, the former England international goalkeeper, with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Palmer's ball to Madueke, but running back was Giannoulis, the left back, tidied up back to his goalkeeper Lakodimos, out to this near side. Mavropanos, forward ball, and then it will be Koulibalis back to his keeper once again, and then they hit the ball long, and it was Solis over on that far side. Flag stays down, looks offside. Pavlidis, he's into the penalty area now. Pavlidis pulls this one back. Mazaras flags up now. And for the second time tonight, Greece are going to have a goal chalked off through being offside. It did look offside, but of course the assistant has to keep it down. And once again, the celebrations are cut short. It will be checked, but he did look offside.
Oh, he was clearly offside. You could see that with the naked eye. But again, that's the third time the ball's been in England's goal tonight, which is a worrying fact for Lee Carsley. Yes, he was offside, but a yard the other side, and he'd have been on it. It'd have been yet another goal that England would have conceded. And the change that you talked about, Ian, has just happened.
Well, Anthony Gordon is the player who makes way. Ollie Watkins comes on. He's pointing and getting some instructions across to his teammate. Madueke, as a result of that, has switched to this near side, the left. Palmer has gone to the right.
And Bellingham's dropped deeper. Look, you see Bellingham's dropped into a more of a deeper role.
Yeah.
Interesting. The front three is Watkins down the middle. Cole Palmer has gone into an advanced position on the right-hand side, and Madueke is on this left-hand side.
So that change happening on the hour mark as England still trail.
It's a completely different system, completely different change. They've got the 9 in Watkins. Cole Palmer's now playing as a right winger. Madueke is a left.
Palmer looks to Watkins. Watkins with his first touch rifles the ball right-footed over the crossbar. It was almost an instant impact.
Cole Palmer winning possession on the right-hand side, wins the ball back within 2 touches, plays Ollie Watkins through on goal, like one of the opportunities he got in the Euros and buried it in the bottom corner. This time he goes for the top corner and it sails harmlessly over the bar, but immediate impact from Ollie Watkins.
Lakodimos, the goalkeeper, has gone down. Looks like he's holding his lower right leg. Not too sure whether it's a calf problem, but there is a stoppage in play as a result. From memory, would you say that's England's first effort second half?
I think it is, yeah. I think it's the most advanced they've been in their first attempt on goal in the second half. Granted, it wasn't on target, but it was certainly their first, and it was the best opportunity. And as soon as Ollie Watkins comes on, he occupied the two centre-halves, and immediately the Greece back four drop deeper because they've got something to deal with.
Well, there is activity down below. Greece, I think, are going to be making a double change. One of the players is going to be Dimitrios Pelkas, who's an attacking midfielder, plays his football for Istanbul Başakşehir. He did have a loan spell actually at Hull City a couple of seasons ago, where he 26 appearances and 2 goals in the Championship for the 30-year-old.
And this is clever by the goalkeeper as well, because as goalkeepers we know that we're the only people on the pitch who can't go off and can't be sent away for treatment. So the goalkeeper's obviously had word from the manager, from the coaching staff, that he wants to prepare a couple of changes. The goalkeeper's gone down there with cramp. Listen, I'm not saying it's gamesmanship. You know, a goalkeeper goes down, he can't leave the field of play, but it gives this team, it gives it the chance to regroup. It gives the manager, the coaches, the opportunity to ready their substitutions and to get ready the players that they want to come on, and just that little break in play stops England's momentum.
Pelkas will be coming on. Leandro Trossard of Arsenal, incidentally, has got an equaliser for Belgium against the 10 men of Italy. They were 2-0 up when Pellegrini was sent off, but it's now Italy 2, Belgium 2. And San Marino, who last time out had that first win in 20 years against Liechtenstein, are trailing in Gibraltar. Gibraltar 1, San Marino 0. Back to losing ways for San Marino as Greece win the ball against Rico Lewis. Mazauras, who's had that goal disallowed with a cross that is gathered in by Jordan Pickford, and he waits, then just rolls it short to John Stones. Bellingham now in that deeper role passes the ball forward. Lewis has got an area to run into, a lot of space here for Lewis. He's over the halfway line. Madueke now on this near side, the left. England still trail by a goal to nil, 63 minutes played. Madueke tries to work his magic, but again they've doubled up. They have put in a real shift of Greece tonight. Here is Bellingham infield. Declan Rice, man over on the right, and he finds him in Cole Palmer. Palmer twists into the penalty area. He goes now with his back to goal, out towards the corner flag. Try to play it back to Rice. The interception comes in. Palmer tries to win it back, but Solis will run clear. They have done well, and Solis has continued that forward run, cut out by Colwill. The game though still remains open, doesn't it?
It does, and the Greek team are defending very, very well, and they've always got that threat on the counter-attack. They've got the pace, they're not afraid to go from back to front very quickly.
Here is Foden running away from the penalty area. No width for England, no width whatsoever. So narrow, in fact lopsided. There must have been a good 20 yards of just an expanse that nobody had run into on this near side.
They've got the players on the pitch, you know, Madueke on this left with Palmer on the right hand side now. They're in possession now, and both wide players are very, very wide. But as the mood progresses, as the move develops, they end up within the width of the 18-yard box, and the Greeks are defending it very, very well.
So we're going to have Pelkas coming on, and also Christos Zaveras, who plays his football for the Czech league leaders Slavia Prague. A former Norwegian under-21 international. He was born in Athens, moved to Norway at the age of 9, but he switched in August, made his debut last month against Finland. So Zaveras coming on for his 3rd appearance, and Dimitrios Pelkas also coming on. And the players who are going to be going off, it will be Siopis coming off, and also Mazauras, who will be coming off. So Zaveras will just go into the centre of midfield for Siopis, and Mazauras, who'd been playing on the right-hand side, replaced by the attacking midfielder Dimitrios Pelkas.
I think that's just a case of getting some fresh legs on there. Like we said, they've all worked very, very hard. They're putting the shift both with and without the ball, and it's a case of just freshening things up.
Here is Colwill. A little bit of off balance there was John Stones, but he says to Jordan Pickford, don't worry, I've got it, as Pickford came out of his penalty area. Midway through the England half, Stones collects the ball. Colwill's forward ball, Foden on the half turn, that's gone astray.
Foden and Bellingham, they're within 10 yards of each other all night. You look at them now, they've changed formation and they've both dropped deeper. They're two quality players in their own right, but it just seems to me on this huge pitch at Wembley they're struggling for space. They're getting in each other's way, and again in a deeper area they're both in the same place.
Well, Jude Bellingham is yet to score this season. 8 appearances for Real Madrid. If you look back at his start last season, 7 goals he scored in his opening 8 games for Real Madrid, as he's just had to be separated by the referee from Bakasetas, and now he's actually calling the 2 players towards him as the Italian referee just to have a word.
Yeah, he just got a little bit of needle there, Jude Bellingham. Bakasetas went down under a challenge from Bellingham. Bellingham had a word with him as he walked past, and Bakasetas didn't like it.
But again, maybe a degree of the frustration that these England players are feeling. Bakasetas onto the loose ball, forward, Solis coming into a central area. Ball out wide to Pelkas, the substitute, right-hand side. Pelkas delivers it low. It was awkward that for Colwell to get away. Comes out to Bakasetas, rolls it out towards that far side. Giannoulis has joined the attack, far side the left. Ball tried to come forward there from the Zafiras, the substitute. Now a potential break is on for England, but Foden's hit the ball over the top. He tried to chip it, but it was way over at the head of Ollie Watkins, and it's easily dealt with by Greece.
Frustration, the word you used there, Ian, for Jude Bellingham, and you can see it creeping in. Phil Foden there giving away possession, and the atmosphere here inside Wembley, there's a real lull inside the ground.
That's the voice of Paul Robinson here at Wembley Stadium, where Greece are on course for their first ever win against England in the Nations League. As Lee Carsley watches his side try and win the ball back, Pelkas lays it off. This is by Rota. I mean, Greece are winless in their last 12 matches against sides that are ranked in the top 5. Drawn 6, they've lost 6 since a 1-0 victory against France some 20 years ago. And whilst in recent matches away from home against top opposition they've done well, they have lost. 1-0 away to France, 2-1 away to Germany as Pelkas wins a corner kick, but deservedly they are ahead.
Played well tonight, played really well tonight. You can go through their team to a man. Every single one of them's put in a performance. The manager's clearly sent them out there with a game plan, a strategy, and it's working for them at the moment. And you can see England's frustration. Jude Bellingham running around the pitch, possibly diving into tackles he shouldn't do. England, listen, let's be honest, they've been poor. It's not worked what he's tried so far tonight. England have been second best for most of the night.
Greece then have a corner kick right-hand side. It's an in-swinger, headed out by Bellingham. Comes out to this near side once again. Bakasetas left-footed, curls it in. Pickford's come 7 yards out, gets both hands to it, drops on the edge of the area. Giannoulis will win a corner off the body of Cole Palmer, and Greece are on top.
Very much so. Another corner on the far side in front of those Greek fans, and the reception that the corner taker's getting is incredible. But again, it's another shot on Jordan Pickford's goal. Deflects harmlessly wide for yet another corner, more pressure.
And there's going to be another Greece change in the offing too, as their supporters waving the blue and white flags aloft in that end over on that far side. The referee has again had to call 2 players towards him. This time it was Ollie Watkins who was the England player who he spoke, the Italian referee. Headed out by Bellingham at the near post. Giannoulis plays it back down that left-hand side. Pickford, I think, was appealing that Pelkas was coming back from an offside position. A lucky ricochet, loses the ball ultimately to Bellingham. Challenge comes in. That was from Courbelis, and he's shown a yellow card for catching Jude Bellingham. And the Greece midfielder is booked as Bellingham rides in agony.
Talking about Bellingham again, though, in all the wrong context for England fans and England supporters. Talking about him making a near post header, clearing off the line inside his own box. Talking about him there trying to run the ball away from his own 18-yard box. Those are not the area of the pitch that you want him in.
Greece voices you can hear in the background here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Dominic Solanke is going to be coming on for England, getting his final instructions as Lee Carsley looks to make another change.
Well, he started without one, now he's going to have 2 on the pitch.
Dominic Solanke coming on for his second England appearance after a a 7-year absence. Then he made his debut back in November 2017 for the last 15 minutes of a goalless draw against Brazil. He's going to get about 19 minutes tonight as Bellingham makes the run through the middle. Bellingham into the area, goes for an audacious lob. Took it very early, actually, on the edge of the area on the right-hand side. And it never looked like it was going to go goalwards at all as it dropped over the top harmlessly for a goal kick, and England still trail.
Beautiful ball over the top by Cole Palmer. Spots the runner Jude Bellingham and he finds him to a plumb, drops it on his chest. Jude Bellingham looks up, he sees the goalkeeper off his line. He just tries to lift it over him on the volley from 18 yards, but he gets it all wrong.
Phil Foden, we're yet to see the best of Phil Foden in an England shirt. That's 15 games now without a goal for England since last September.
I think it's difficult to find a way and to get the best out of him in this system. I've said all night that him and Jude Bellingham seemingly have just got in each other's way, and you know that there's two players that play very similar. He's tried to play them both as a 10, they've both dropped deeper and tried to play both as an 8. It's just not quite worked for him in this formation.
Greece are going to make a change. They're going to bring on a very experienced midfielder in Petros Mantalos, who plays for AEK Athens. He actually made his debut for Greece some 10 years ago, so that'll be his 64th cap for the quite a diminutive midfielder with his dark hair, sporting the number 20 on that blue shirt. As England, time is running out, less than 20 minutes remaining. Greece still lead by 1-0. Pavlidis goes down under a challenge from Colwill. The referee, though, lets that one ride, but gives England a free kick just inside their own half, as now the change will be made. So this will be like for like, midfielder for midfielder. Dimitrios Kouabelis is coming off, and Mantalos comes on for Ivan Jovanovic, who's looking to make it 3 wins out of 3 since he took charge of the Greece national side. And what a coup it will be for them to beat England.
Well, why would he change it? You know, like for like changes, the system and the formation will stay the same, and he'll be looking for a really, really big last 17 minutes plus injury time from his team. They've given him a real good shift so far. You know, they'll be looking to see this game out.
So England with a free kick. Out to the right-hand side it goes, looking for this equaliser with just over a quarter of an hour remaining. John Stones, the England captain. Colwill over the halfway line, forward to Madueke. Solanke on the field of play is the one who'd made the run out to this left-hand side, but England go back. Haven't tested Vlachodimos really at all, have they? That effort from Bellingham as early as the 3rd minute, and apart from that I can't recall the Newcastle goalkeeper being worked as Madueke links up with Lewis. Strong run to the edge of the area, but again tigerish defending by the Greece players, and it's a long clearance away, and Jordan Pickford picks it up, and indeed that is the only shot on target by England. And we've been playing for nearly 75 minutes. Here is Madueke on this near side now, the left for England. Rotterback pedals, shifts it onto the outside, wins a corner.
And since the changes have been made, I've just been trying to work out the formation, because there is so much interchange with Rico Lewis and Trent dropping into midfield. But actually, with Dominic Solanke and Ollie Watkins on the field, England are pretty much a 4-4-2 when they're out of possession.
Well, they've got this corner on this near side, which Alexander-Arnold waits to take. I would imagine that Kyle Walker would start the away game in Finland on Sunday. Since then, he's now been recalled to the England squad. Alexander-Arnold, right-footed, into the near post, flick on. Headed out though, potential break could be on here for the blue of Greece. Declan Rice tries to curb it. He's been booked, so he can't make the challenge. Strong running, Zafiris puts it through. And this now is an opportunity for Solis, who chips it. And it goes wide. Offside anyway, against the former Norwich City man, leaving themselves open as they go in search of the equaliser.
Excellent from Greece again on the counter-attack, but again it just highlights another flaw in the England back four. The amount of opportunities that Greece have had tonight. They've had the ball in the back of the net 3 times, 2 offsides as well, with really good chances, one-on-one with Jordan Pickford.
Well, that was sloppy by Rotter, the right back. He's had a fine game up until now, but a lapse of concentration. He's conceded a corner kick with an attempted back pass towards his goalkeeper. So England still trailing by a goal to nil, playing from right to left as we look. Have a corner that Alexander-Arnold now will place down in the quadrant. Every blue shirt is back inside the penalty area. A Greece side that has had to deal with the sorrow, the grief and the real tragedy after the death of George Baldock. In comes the England corner, but heroically leading by a goal to nil and still protecting that, putting everything on the line as on the edge of the area. Solanke tries to win the ball. Bellingham passes it out to Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold chips the ball towards the far post and nobody was there to get on the end of it, and it goes out for a goal kick. 1-0 Greece.
It was a cross-come shot by Trent Alexander-Arnold, wasn't it, on the left-hand side of the box. Cuts inside onto his right foot and he just lifts it to that far post. Almost just stabs it up in the air with his toe, hoping that there's somebody there at the far post or it drops into that bottom corner. But Greece are defending resolutely. You've got to give them so much credit for their determination and the way that they're staying in this game. But England are not creating any big chances, like you said about Vlachodimos in goal for the Greeks. He's not really been tested. I can't remember the last save he had to make.
No, with that one from Bellingham in the 3rd minute. And England look at their record at Wembley. 2 defeats in the last 24. Brazil back in March by a goal to nil. Iceland in June by the same scoreline as the ball is threaded through. And this is Solis running forward, but in the end it was 2 England players in Stones and Alexander-Arnold that dealt with the threat of Solis as that back line was pierced once again, and the referee was on hand to say no, free kick.
Well, that time Solis had timed his run perfectly and he was onside. It was just his lack of pace that meant he couldn't get away from Trent Alexander-Arnold and John Stones. But again, it's one ball that cuts the England back four open.
England are attacking. Watkins on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Back it goes to Declan Rice. They've struggled for creativity here at Wembley tonight. Palmer running forward now. Closely marked. Rice. Alexander-Arnold on the left-hand side, swings over a right-footed cross. It's a bit of a back heel, and there was Watkins. They couldn't get it goalwards. There was no real conviction as the referee's whistle is blown. Free kick to Greece.
Ball swung into the box, and that is a real old-fashioned goalmouth scramble. England are doing everything they can just to get something on it to poke it in the Greek net. Ollie Watkins is in there, Dominic Solanke's in there. It's a high lifted ball into the Greek box, in swinging to the goalkeeper, between goalkeeper and defenders. It's a real mess, but England just can't get any purchase on it.
England don't look like scoring.
I hope by you saying that means England are going to score.
Well, the curse of the commentator.
They don't know, do they? They really don't.
Stones with a strong commanding header forward. Madueke. Lee Carsley tries to applaud. Ball hit by Rota. Flick on by Pavlidis. Solis had come tight behind him, and Lewis will now bring the ball away for England. So Alexander-Arnold and Lewis have actually swapped. Alexander-Arnold, ball forward. Watkins makes the run in behind. Holds the ball up, out towards the right-hand side. I thought it was a temporary switch, but it stayed. Watkins with a cross. Off the chest, and then prodded behind by Rota.
I think they're just trying everything. You know, we've talked about the different positions and players popping up all over the place tonight. He really has tonight, from start to the 80th minute that we're in now. He's tried different personnel and different positions. Like you say now, we've even switched the fullbacks. Rico Lewis has gone over to the right-hand side. Trent's playing left back.
So Alexander-Arnold waits to take the corner kick. Just over 10 minutes remaining. And England still trailing. Alexander-Arnold with a corner kick. In it goes, flick on. Cleared by Greece, volleyed away. Pelkas sliced that a little bit, but still got enough distance on it with that left-footed clearance up towards the halfway line. Madueke tries to win it. Referee says no foul. Greece aren't happy with that. They thought that Solis had actually been impeded there. The referee now will give Greece a throw on this near side to right.
This isn't going to be pretty for the last 10 minutes, and Greece aren't going to make this pretty, and they're going to make no apologies for it. There's going to be fouls, there's going to be stoppages, disruptions, breaks in play. They're going to be frustrating. Players will go down injured. They're going to try and see out the last 10 minutes of this game.
Well, it was approaching 6 hours without conceding since Pascal Gross scored for Germany back in June. He's certainly made them a tough side to play against, as Ivanovic. as they still lead by a 0-0.
But they shouldn't be for England, should they? They shouldn't be a tough side for England to play against. You look at the players we've got, you look at the quality that we've got. We shouldn't be sat here saying that Greece are a tough side to play against for England. But listen, you give them credit because they have been tonight. To a man who's been on the field, on the bench, they've been absolutely excellent. You give them so much credit. They've come, they've set up, they've been hard to beat. They've offered going forward as well. They've played really, really well. But for England, where they are in the world rankings, for where they are in Nations League, they shouldn't have a problem at home against this opposition.
This wasn't in the script for the audition for Lee Carsley. Not that he's ever made it about him as the being the interim. He says he's quite happy with his remit, but it was certainly an opportunity to enhance his claims. But trailing a 0-0 against Greece, who are looking at making further changes on the bench down below.
I think up until kick-off tonight, Lee Carsley's report would have been job well done so far. 2 wins, 2 clean sheets, 2 decent performances. And then, say, right to kick-off tonight, people would have looked at this team sheet and gone, that's what we wanted, why haven't we done that before?
Well, a quick look on social media, and certainly everybody was excited by that team selection, as Ashley Cole comes out as well, and he tries to get some instructions across as Carsley's down on his haunches. Bergianidis is going to be coming on as well. He's a right back. It'll only be his 3rd appearance for Greece, so that's a defender who's going to be coming on. Just looking to see who the other change was going to be as Greece are attacking. Far side the left, Solis plays it in low! Pavlidis at the double! Greece have increased their lead! Greece is very much the word here tonight now. A historic victory this is going to be. Their first ever win against England at their 10th attempt. They lead by 2-0. And very much in their thoughts is that of George Bulldog. Despite all the sorrow they've had to deal with during the last 24 hours, they are celebrating now as they lead England by 2-0.
What a team performance. What a team performance. You can see the joy on their face. The goal is being checked for VAR, for offside, but it's Solis down the left-hand side. He breaches the England defence. Lose possession again, England, so easy. Solis does look like he holds his run, plays it into the centre to Pavlidis, who may have just strayed offside with his right leg. England may get away with this one. We're looking at it now on the VAR. It just depends if he's straight in front of his own man. His right leg looks ever so slightly offside. So these thousands of people that have just left Wembley might want to come back in.
Well, with 6 minutes remaining and England looking unlikely to score, however, England remain in the game because that goal does not stand. So they've had 3 goals tonight now disallowed of Greece. They lead by 1-0, but it certainly underlines the threat that they have carried.
They've scored 4 goals at Wembley. 4 goals. It's almost unthinkable. I mean, England, they've not been at the races tonight. They've not looked good in any area of the pitch, really, and they've been found wanting yet again.
Greece, by the way, who'd never previously scored at Wembley in 3 previous visits, but they have been inspired here tonight. However, their lead is only by 1-0. It was a tight call, but it was the correct call. Konstantelias is going to be coming on, midfielder for PAOK Salonika, 21 years of age, and the other change is going to be a defender, which is going to be Bergianidis, who's going to be coming on, and it's Solis and Bakasetas who are the players who are going off. So it's not, there is an element of a defensive change in there with the defender coming on for Solis.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's very, very understandable, isn't it? Went down the other end, got another goal disallowed, but now we're entering the last knock-ins of this game, and it's game management, and it's about shutting up shop. I said 10 minutes ago, the Greek team would frustrate England. They'd make the last 10 minutes very, very hard, and they've done so well. You know, to what we're in now, we're in the 86th minute, so you can understand them going to be a little bit more defensive.
But even if England were to scramble an equaliser now,
no, not enough.
The level of that would only mask the level of performance that hasn't been up to the high standard.
It wouldn't mask anything, Ian, would it? I mean, you can't unsee what you've seen, and you have to give your honest opinion. England, there's been no cohesion, there's been no fluidity. They've not looked like we would have expected them to look. He's changed personnel, he's changed positions, changed formation. There's a lot of players on that pitch that have played 2 or 3 different positions tonight, and nothing has really worked what the England manager's tried. And even if England do score and rescue a point from this game, or even go on and win it, I think the 86, 87 minutes that we've seen so far, there's a lot of questions to be answered. It'll be an interesting press conference for you this evening.
France are now leading Israel by 3-1 for that game that is being played in Budapest. Elsewhere in the Nations League, just under 4 minutes remaining, as a pocket of Greece supporters actually in front of us here all rise to their feet to acknowledge the performance of Solis, who signed at a young age for Norwich back in the day, from Pauk for just under £9 million. There's Alexander Arnold to Ollie Watkins, cuts it back, might run through to the edge of the area. Bellingham with the equaliser. Jude Bellingham, right-footed, rising effort, breaks the hearts of Greece with that rising drive that the keeper couldn't do anything about. England haven't looked like scoring, and yet Jude Bellingham, with his first goal of the season, might well have salvaged a point. 1-1.
Looks like he's rescued a point for Lee Carsley. It's Ollie Watkins. He breaks through the back line of Greece down the right-hand side, gets to the byline, cuts it back more in hope than expectation, eludes everybody in the Greek box, and it comes to an on-rushing Bellingham, 18 yards out, side foot, hits a shot to Vlachodimos' left-hand side. The goalkeeper actually gets a full hand on it. He should probably do better. Full hand on it. All he can do is push it into the top corner to make it look better. But Jude Bellingham has saved Lee Carsley's blushes.
Meanwhile, at the other end, Greece are attacking, and it will go behind for a corner kick. That was Bagianidis who had the effort, that left-footed, has taken the diversion. So many empty red seats behind that goal that Bellingham has just scored in with the equaliser, as we have 2 minutes remaining. But England 1, Greece 1, and Ireland have turned it around through Robbie Brady. Finland 1, Ireland 2 is the latest score in England's group in the Nations League. Corner kick meanwhile for Greece, headed out by Colwell. Every white shirt was back, and then the effort that comes in is a little bit of one that's off balance by Zafiris, and it goes off target and out for a goal kick, and at 1-1. But we go back to the point you just made about the equaliser. The level of performance will be the one what people will be asking Lee Carsley about.
Yeah, he'll face a lot of questions today. One about his team selection, about does he think it worked or not. And I think the way that the team played for the majority of this game, they may still get out of this with a win. They've got a free kick now deep in Greek territory. We've got 1 minute plus injury time to go, so there is an opportunity they may still win this game, but questions will be asked. And you've got to feel for Greece. They've been absolutely excellent tonight, really have.
60 seconds remain of normal time. England have taken the free kick short. It was just a little touch. Alexander Arnold now out towards that far side. Palmer hasn't been as much involved since he's gone out wide. Low cross comes in. Madueke on the stretch, left side of the 6-yard box, left-footed into the side netting. It was never going goalwards. But since Palmer has made that switch, going to the front three, hasn't been involved as much.
No, he's been a little bit isolated on the wide, hasn't he? When they did make that switch, they pushed him out as the right-sided winger, where he has been effective at times, cutting in on his left foot. But both him and Madueke have played in the wide areas in this second half. Both have been guilty of coming inside too narrow and playing in the width of the 18-yard box. And when you've got two strikers in Solanke and Watkins, it's too congested. England haven't had that width in the second half.
Israel 1, France 4 is the latest score elsewhere in the Nations League. Header on. Hooked clear by Rico Lewis. He's switched back again now. Lewis has gone back to left back. Alexander Arnold to his starting position as a right back. As we're 5 minutes now into added on time. A minimum of 5 minutes. 1-1 on 5 Live and the BBC Sounds app. As a yellow card has just been shown to Pavlidis, the Greece goal scorer. Had that second goal, and it was such a tight offside call stood then. That would have put the game out of England's reach, but as it is, it was ruled out. They've had 3 goals disallowed, and England with that Bellingham equaliser, as Bellingham has gone down off the ball. Here is Colwell, hits it forward over the head of Bellingham. Watkins looking to give chase, and the back pass caught by Vlachodimos, the goalkeeper.
It's off his knee, off his thigh, so it was okay. It did look like he passed it back to the goalkeeper, and the few people that are left in Wembley were claiming a back pass, but it actually wasn't.
And Vlachodimos, as Paul Robinson quite rightly says, got a hand to that effort from Bellingham.
Should have done better, really, shouldn't he? I don't like to criticise the Greek players because they have played so well, but a goalkeeper of Vlachodimos' quality, he was a little bit too far advanced. He was just outside his 6-yard box for a shot that was 18 yards away.
Pavlidis looking for the run of Pelkas. Pickford was caught by the Greece substitute, and he's been shown a yellow card. It was a curling ball arcing its way away from the penalty area for him to try and get on the end of it, and a hobbling Pickford has taken the free kick quickly with 3 minutes remaining of stoppage time here at Wembley. Jonathan Northcroft will be joining John Murray and Steve Crossman and Paul to take you through until 10 o'clock, where then Gordon Smart takes over on BBC Radio 5 Live. Don't forget the cricket coverage tomorrow on Sports Extra, ahead of that resumption on the 5th and final day at 6 o'clock in the morning, with Pakistan struggling at 152 for 6 after the efforts of Joe Root 262 and Harry Brook 317, and that record partnership of 454 for England on an exhilarating day's cricket for that 4th day in Multan. So that's something to look forward to in the morning. We'll try and bring you as much live reaction as we can here from Wembley Stadium, if not before 10 o'clock. And of course it'll be on the 5 Live Football Daily Pod, as it remains 1-1 here in the injury time at Wembley. Lewis hits the ball over the top. Well, he'll be satisfied that he remains undefeated, Lee Carsley, but I look forward to hearing his thoughts on the level of performance that he's seen his side put in tonight.
Well, I think he's a realist, isn't he? I think the way that he's spoken before, previously, not necessarily a manager that fronts the media all the time. He's more of a coach, a hands-on coach. I think this is the first time in his very short tenure in its infancy he'll be getting asked some questions.
Greece might still nick it here at the end. Lewis doing well under pressure, a bit of a scramble inside the penalty area. Pavlidis! They have nicked it in injury time. Pavlidis has got his second goal. Wild celebrations for Greece. This will be their first ever win against England, and Pavlidis hit it low, right-footed, to give Pickford no chance. They are back in front. There's no coming back for England now. A historic win for Greece, 2-1.
Incredible scenes at Wembley. Look over there to the right-hand side. There's a sea of blue and white. What a finish to this game. We can talk all you like about England's frailties, but that team, Greece, have been excellent tonight to a man. They've dug in, they've stuck to their task, and they've gone right to the final whistle. And Pavlidis, he's had goals disallowed tonight. Greece have had the ball in the back of England's net 5 times. It looks like they're now going to come out on top. There's a real scramble in the England box. Opportunity for John Stones to clear, opportunity for Rico Lewis to clear. Nobody takes control of the situation apart from Pavlidis. He does. One touch away from everybody, and he smashes it into the bottom right-hand corner of Jordan Pickford's goal. No chance for the England goalkeeper.
And the celebrations weren't only just confined to that on the pitch. I think one of the substitutes actually raced onto the pitch. In fact, he's just making his way back here. That was now Solis. So if the referee spotted that, he'll be getting a yellow card. But also the substitutes and the coaching staff all embraced each other in a real melee down below. 2-1 to Greece in stoppage time here. England maybe at the other end. They're going down looking for a penalty. Madueke was chopped to the floor. The referee, though, says no. Greece get the ball away. They have shown so much spirit of Greece.
Madueke's still down in the box. He's holding his left ankle. He feels he was caught. It's something that they will be checking on VAR as Jordan Pickford surely launches it one last time.
By my watch, this will be the last bit of action. We're into almost the end of the 5 minutes of added on time. Pavlidis hasn't really got much energy left as Pickford passes the ball out towards Alexander-Arnold. That was a hit and hope ball by Alexander-Arnold, who once again has switched out to this left-hand side. Rice running forward now towards Cole Palmer. Palmer picks it up on the halfway line, runs into the centre circle, finds Lewis. We're now in the hands at the discretion of the referee. Greece still lead by 2-1. Cross swung over, headed out by Mavropanos, edge of the area, volleyed away by Greece. They're baying for the final whistle, the Greece supporters. They now get a free kick. That should be it. They're celebrating on the bench down below. They lead by 2-1.
Well, that for Greece is as good as the final whistle. They just won a free kick inside their own half, but they've taken it short and given it away.
And as a result, England tried to burst forward, but the referee has blown his whistle and has brought play back. I mean, it was a right old scramble, and then it just squirmed loose to Pavlidis. Actually saw one of the Greece supporters by saying that they felt that it wasn't so much of a blow for them to be losing Ioannidis through injury tonight, the Panathinaikos striker, because of the physicality of Pavlidis. They thought through his presence he could cause England problems, and he has certainly done that. The 25-year-old who Benfica signed from AZ Alkmaar in the summer. He was the joint top scorer in the Dutch league last season. He's struggled at Benfica so far, just a couple of goals in his 9 appearances, but his 2 goals tonight, taking his tally to 8 on his 41st appearance. So he's not exactly prolific, but he will be the hero. And there is the full-time whistle, and the Greece players celebrate, as do the coaching staff. And for their coach, Ivan Jovanovic, it's 3 wins out of 3, and they have maintained their 100% winning start to this Nations League campaign. And you think of all the difficult circumstances, with the tragic death of their international teammate George Baldock. He was very much in their thoughts after the first goal. They pointed to the black armband, they held aloft his shirt, the white shirt that he used to wear, the number 2. And despite all of that difficulty, something that has been so hard to process, they have put in a performance, and for the first time in their history, they have beaten England. They'd never previously scored at Wembley, and yet here tonight they've beaten England by 2-1.
Couldn't have said it better, Ian. I think we're very, very guilty quite often in the media of looking at the so-called bigger teams' failures, and we can sit here all night and talk about what went wrong for England and how it didn't go right, and the formation and the players, and I'm sure we will till late into the night. But actually, you've got to give that Greece team so much credit. To a man, they were brilliant tonight. They had a game plan, they worked extremely hard. They've come here and got a result, almost an unthinkable result, an incredible result for Greece tonight, and they've got to be praised. I mean, it was difficult for England, they made it hard, they defended resolutely and defended all the way to the final whistle, and just when you thought that Jude Bellingham had spared England's blushes, no, they were still there, they didn't go away. So much credit to them tonight.
Well, Bellingham tested Vlachodimos in the 3rd minute, and until then, 3 minutes from the end, England hadn't had another shot on target. An extremely disappointing night for Lee Carsley, the interim head coach, and England. But the Greece players making their way over to their thousands of supporters over on that far side on a historic night for them, but also a night tinged with sadness, bearing in mind what they've had to deal with over the last 24 hours. So a bittersweet moment for Greece. England 1, Greece 2.
Thank you, Ian. So Ian Dennis is going to go down and get us some reaction. Gordon Smart is going to be with you in 15 minutes' time. So if we can't get that quick enough, then you will certainly hear it on the Football Daily podcast. So Greece are top of the group now. They've won all 3 of their games, 9 points. England's second on 6. Republic of Ireland are up to 3, 2-1 winners in Finland tonight. Their biggest away win since beating Wales in 2017, and a first win in charge for Heimir Hallgrimsson. So in the next 15 minutes, we are going to break down what's just happened at Wembley Stadium. And as Ian was saying, what an amazing night for Greece. So Kostas Lianos, the Greek football journalist, will join us before 10 o'clock. Shortly, Sunday Times football correspondent Jonathan Norcroft will be with us. Paul Robinson is inside Wembley Stadium with correspondent John Murray. Wow, John, England got themselves out of jail and then walked back in the cell.
Well, they did, but Ian was absolutely right there. You know, that's a Greek... We're watching it now inside Wembley Stadium, and all of the Greek players, everyone involved in the squad, all of the coaching staff, they've all got together. The England players have long left the pitch now. This is left to the Greek players here and their supporters in the stands, and there must be 3,000 or more of them. And what we've seen here tonight, yes, it's absolutely right, we'll discuss the England shortcomings, but this Greek performance tonight, I mean, they have ridden off massive emotion here tonight, and that's the story.
Yeah, it is, Paul. Absolutely, isn't it? I mean, you could see it, especially in the celebration of the first goal, where they had a shirt with George Baldock's name on the back of it. You could see the emotion in their faces. Some of them were almost in tears even then. Very, very emotional evening for them, and still now. Wembley's empty. You can see red seats everywhere apart from that blue and white seat over in the far right hand corner. Still dancing, cheering, and making an occasion of what has been a very, very sad day for all involved, and especially a lot of the England players as well who will have played against him and with him as well. There's been a really nice tribute paid tonight, but there was so much character in that Greek team, and they're making the most of their occasion, and they're still on the pitch now.
There are actually quite a number of Greek supporters. The bulk of them are in the corner, but there are hundreds of them actually just down in front of us. I see a massive white banner has been raised there, and the point to make again, as we said before the match, George Baldock played for this Greek team in March when they fell at the final hurdle when they were trying to qualify for the Euros and lost to Georgia on penalties in the playoff final for a place at the Euros in Germany this summer. So there is such a close connection between so many of these players with that young man who lost his life last night.
And all of that is far more important than the football, Paul. Of course it is. But it is worth saying, I mean, yeah, they scored a very, very late winner there, but Greece were by far the better team, weren't they?
England could have scored a late winner and still be having the same conversations. It was a really disappointing performance tonight. We all got excited when we saw the players on the pitch and the starting lineup, and it just didn't work, did it? When you asked me at half time, he said, what's it like? He just disjointed. It was clunky. It looked exactly like a team that had 2 days to work on a new formation, and on the hour mark it was almost an admission of defeat that didn't quite work. Let's put Ollie Watkins on, and then it was that hasn't quite worked, let's put Solanke on. And in the end, Steve, England ended up playing a 4-4-2. We talk about all this formation and the interchange and everything. It was a 4-4-2 with Madueke on the left and Cole Palmer on the right hand side.
But this is what we said on the day the squad was announced, whatever it was, 2.5 weeks ago, with Bellingham and Palmer and Foden all included in this squad, and Lee Carsley didn't have them last month because of illness and injury, and everything was extremely satisfactory from those two matches. But there was that clamour, and on the day the squad was announced, that was the point that we made when we spoke, was that the main point of interest here was, what was he going to do? How was he going to accommodate them? And it was a bold move tonight to do what he did and find a place for them all, but
that's about finding the balance, isn't it? That's exactly what he's done. Exactly what we all sat in the summer, or in the beer gardens, on our tellies, in the lounges, wherever we were, screaming at the telly. Saka should be playing, Foden should be playing, Bellingham should be playing. Why isn't Anthony Gordon getting on? Why isn't Cole Palmer getting more minutes? And he's done exactly what we all thought. He went, put them all on the pitch tonight, and it's just not worked.
And I was listening to Paul in the first half, I think it was, that you said it for the first time, and that struck a chord with me from the phrase that was used so often during the summer: Bellingham and Foden in the same area.
They were, weren't they? They spent a lot of the time on the pitch, whether it be the first half or second half. They were both occupying each other's space, and I think they nullified the effect. OK, Jude Bellingham got his goal, his first of the season, but actually they both started as a false nine. That didn't quite work. So when he brought the strikers on, he dropped them both deeper to a number 8, if you like, and they were both in the same position. It's almost like, right, we've got two of the best players here, the best player in the Liga, the best player in the Premier League last year. They play in the same position. Let's play them in the same position as a false nine, as a number 8. They're occupying the same position. They're in each other's space, and it just didn't. They were so narrow tonight, Steve. Said it so many times in commentary. When they're in possession, they turn over a ball, they get it. Cole Palmer's on the right hand side, Madueke's on the left. They're on the touchline, but within 2 or 3 passes or interchanges of play, everybody's in the width of the 18-yard box, and they're so easy to defend against.
So the point to make as well is that he was acclaimed and hailed for what he did with the under-21s when players during the course of that run at that tournament, when they didn't concede a single goal, quite a number of players were played in unusual positions or out of position or not their normal positions, and it feels like we've had that thrown at us tonight. And I think that it's a key point that Paul makes. This is a Thursday night game, which is quite unusual. I can't remember the last time England were playing on the first night of European matches. So they did only have those two. So he's asked a lot of them tonight, and they've had a very limited time to prepare for it.
We'll come back to England in a moment. Jonathan Northcross is going to join us very, very shortly. But Kostas Lianos, Greek football journalist, is with us live from Greece. Kostas, we've just been saying such difficult circumstances for all of these Greek players after the tragic death of George Baldock. In that scenario, this performance, their first ever win at Wembley Stadium, there must be all kinds of emotions for Greek football fans right now.
This was an outburst from the players. This was the players leaving their soul on the pitch. All of it, every single bit of it, was for George Baldock and his family. This is a very tight-knit group that has been together since at least 2021. George Baldock joined them a year later. This is a team that has been together for a very long time. They are friends, they are brothers. The tributes that we were seeing before the match, calling him their brother, calling him Phile, which means in Greek means friend. I know I was talking to people from the Greek national team before the game, and I was hearing words like heavy atmosphere. I was hearing it's very difficult. I was hearing the players are struggling to understand what happened. Training was cancelled. No one was really thinking about football today, but it's obvious that the players and the manager were. Today, they let it all out. They had a horrible 24 hours, all of them. I don't know if you guys saw it after the game. The Greek players all lined up in front of the away fans, the away end, with a shirt of George Baldock, and almost everyone was crying. Tassos Bakasetas, the captain, could not hold it, and he just let it all out. This was very emotional. This was an outburst, but of course, there's a lot more behind it. We can't just put it on the circumstance. There's so much more behind this. It was an amazing victory, first ever victory over England, first ever victory at Wembley. An amazing performance from everyone, from absolutely everyone in this team.
Do you think that the way that the players have been feeling is reflected in the nation as well? Of course, they didn't know him like the players who were in that Greek squad did, but equally, it must be an incredibly painful thing for so many people to be coping with.
When Vasilis Torosidis retired from Greece in 2019, shortly after Yurkas Seitaridis helped Greece win Euro 2004, the position at right back, there was a huge void over there. A lot of players tried, a lot of players failed. And then we were hearing about this player in the Premier League who's killing it with Sheffield United, who were in the 2019-2020 season were on a roll, finishing in the top half of the table. And their right back was one of their best players who had registered the largest amount of minutes in the Premier League that season, which was 3,420 minutes, joined top in that list with only 7 other outfield players. Among them were Declan Rice and Virgil van Dijk. And when he came on, the right back position, there was confidence again there. There was security again there. The fans fell in love with Baldock. Only 12 caps, but still everyone remembers him as the star man that he always was.
Kostas, bear with me 2 seconds. We'll come back to you in a second. We're just going to go downstairs at Wembley and hear from Ian Dennis, who's live with John Stones.
Yes, thank you, Steve. I've got the England captain, John Stones, with me. Not the night you wanted it to be for your first time leading out England.
Yeah, extremely disappointed, upset, angry. Didn't envisage it going this way. That's life. Sometimes it's harsh in some of the nicest moments, but we weren't good enough tonight. I think even with a draw, we would have been very lucky to come away with that result. With how we played overall. It's difficult to put into words straight away. I think I had put a lot of pressure on myself to step up and go out there and do what I've done 81 other times, is give everything. Did the same tonight and tried to lead the boys, and something just wasn't there from us all, and it's ended up in a defeat that we didn't want on home soil, and yeah, we've got to put that right quickly.
I think when people saw the team and saw the amount of attacking talent that Lee Carsley had gone with tonight, people were quite excited, but why didn't it click?
I'm not sure. I've got to give credit to Greece, how they set up, how they made it so difficult to get through the lines tonight, find the boys, get them on the ball, get them on the half turn. We didn't do that enough, and that's credit to them. They pressed us high, made it difficult. We weren't good enough in our build-up, I don't think, from goal kicks. That's down to me and the other guys at the back to, bring the ball forward and yeah, overall it was just we weren't at the standard that we've set, and it's disappointing, and I'm sure for everyone else. We've got to look back on this game and move forward and try and get a win at the weekend, because we thought tonight we could put ourselves in a great position, go above Greece. That's not happened, but yeah, again, I've got to give credit to them, how they played and how they set up, how they fought, and towards the end I thought we kept going, kept trying, putting more balls in the box, and we got a goal from it, but it just wasn't enough.
Especially as well, finally, given their circumstances, dealing with the death of George Baldock, to put in a performance like that.
Yeah, no, it's disappointing. I think for everyone in the dressing room at the FA, behalf of myself and the team, condolences to his family, and such a sad time. Obviously, a few of the boys were close to him, and knew it wasn't an easy day at all. So we wanted to, I wanted to go out there for Hendo especially today. He was gone through a tough time, especially with that news, and we want to do it for people like that, and yeah, sadly we didn't.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
John Stones live on 5 Live, England captain tonight, and thank you to Kostas Leonos, Greek football journalist, who was with us just before we heard from John Stones. We still have Paul Robinson and correspondent John Murray inside Wembley Stadium. Just one more on that. I think, John, given we just heard John Stones talk about it, and you could hear how it's affecting everybody, actually.
Yeah, and he's referring there to Dean Henderson, who, of course, was on loan at Sheffield United, a teammate of George Baldock's, talking there of how he clearly had been very affected by the events of the last 24 hours as well. So it's felt by the clubs that he played for, George Baldock. This sadness will be felt all over this country as well as in Greece.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kostas put that across very, very well from how it's being felt in Greece as well. We've got a couple more minutes, so let's just get back to England and the performance. Paul, did you look at that as something which, they've not tried it before, it's an experiment, and it's, you've got to give these things time, or given England have lost to Greece in that way, is it something that you think we might not see again?
I didn't see anything in the performance where I looked at that and went, yeah, do you know what, that's got legs, that could work. We spoke there before about Foden and Bellingham occupying each other's space. They were far too narrow in the second half. It looked disjointed. At the risk of repeating myself, it looked like a team that had 2 days to prepare for a new formation, and it didn't quite work. But actually, with the new formation, they didn't have that figurehead of a number 9. When you talk about that number 9, whether they're actually involved in the game, they occupy the two centre halves. The back four immediately drop deeper, which gives the space for quality players like Foden, like Bellingham, like Anthony Gordon, the space to occupy and the space to do their best work, if you like. But with the four of them up there, there was no kind of understanding as to where they were going to be. If you're going to play a formation like that, you've got to play with players that have done it and have done it for a long time and understand how the interchange and the fluidity is going to work. There was nothing what I saw in that formation. Listen, I, like a lot of people, when I saw that team sheet tonight, I went, cool, they're all the players we want to see. That's brave. But it just didn't work, Steve.
Let's get a quick word with Sunday Times football correspondent Jonathan Northcroft, who's joined Paul and John in the commentary position at Wembley. Jonathan, we talked about the performance, which obviously was not good at all. What impact do you think this might have on Lee Carsley's ambitions, if you like, to be the full-time England manager?
Yeah, look, we're finding out about Lee game by game, Steve, and I think he's finding out about himself and the job, and he'll find out tonight what happens when you lose as England manager, particularly when you lose at home to unfancied opponents. I mean, the honeymoon's over. As I said in the match report, the honeymoon's over because that was divorced from reality, really, what we saw out there tonight. I've enjoyed Lee's idealism, I guess, and his willingness to try different things, but I felt he ended up back in the same place as Gareth Southgate there. What Gareth found in the Euros, which is so difficult to get in all of those talented players and make sense of it in a formation. It worked at brief times, but I think it was so telling that he was back at 4-4-2 at the end. And it'll be really fascinating to see now how he reacts to this, because so far, nice questions from all of us, talking blue skies, thinking about what he can do, but as I say, reality bites now.
Certainly does. John Murray?
Yeah, Ian mentioned it earlier, very much brought to mind back in 2021, game here, World Cup qualifier against Hungary. At the time, there was a huge clamour for Gareth Southgate to do the kind of thing that Lee Carsley did tonight. And in that match, he played Rice, but he also played Foden, Mount, Sterling, Kane and Grealish. It didn't click. There were too many cooks that night, and it was the same sort of feeling here tonight.
It's interesting, actually, Steve. You think about it. If Harry Kane's fit, he plays. So then you question why did he try that shape? Why did he try that formation? He's only had 2 days to work with those players, so he's changed it wholly like that. If that's not going to be how he plays going forward, because like I say, the England captain, if he's fit, he plays. He's the number 9. So if you are used to playing that way with the team, why not put Ollie Watkins in there? Why not play Dom Solanke? For me, Ollie Watkins was a natural replacement for Harry Kane, and then sort the formation and the players out behind what you would normally play. Because if Harry Kane was fit, we wouldn't be having this discussion. Yeah, much to digest, and you will get much more reaction on the Football Daily podcast. Big thank you to Jonathan Northcroft, John Murray, Paul Robinson there at Wembley Stadium, and you'll get more England reaction from Ian Dennis as well, speaking to the players and hopefully Lee Carsley on the Football Daily podcast as well. Right, Gordon Smart is next up on 5 Live after the latest news with Fraser Denton.